Good morning. Welcome to the June 16th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Calvert County Commissioners. We're going to start out this morning with our invocation. Pastor Charles Harrell with Asbury and Solomons. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let us pray. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is thy name in all the earth. How majestic is thy name in all the earth. On a beautiful morning, dear Lord, you have graciously given to us to be up and about and in the service of our fellow human beings. And we give you thanks for the gift of life, the privilege of community, and the richness of service. As we find ourselves now in this span between Flag Day on Sunday and Independence Day just 2.5 weeks hence, we are mindful of the cherished inheritance of freedom, purchased at a high price and secured over and again by the blood, treasure, toil, and perseverance of America's patriots, her sons and daughters by birth or by adoption, and we are grateful. As we're poised at the threshold of the summer season, we celebrate with our graduates and their achievements, with students everywhere as they find a momentary release from their studies, and with our educators and staff who are beginning to enjoy a well-earned break from their important labor. In this Elder Abuse Awareness Month, we remember especially the most vulnerable among us, from the youngest to the elderly, and all those who find themselves at the margins of society and of our awareness, asking your special protection for these and that you grant vigilance for us, their friends and neighbors, that childhood might be a time of joy and the elder age a season of continued fruitfulness and blessing. Holy God, we have no agency at all apart from your power to enable, and can accomplish no good thing absent your grace. Grant these your servants, our commissioners, and all who here gather, the power and grace both to will and to do that which is best for the people of Calvert County, that which is conducive to the prosperity and safety of all, and to build and perfect this place we call home. We make this prayer with a view towards the good of all our neighbors and the blessing of that majestic name, to whom be all glory and honor now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Harrell. Would you like to say anything?
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be with you this morning, and just want to put in a plug for the community where I work, Asbury Solomons, the only community of its type here in Southern Maryland, CCRC, wonderful place where I've been these 13 years now. And also to remind everyone that it is Elder Abuse Awareness Month. Certainly, if you see something, say something. We need to protect our elderly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Takes us to the approval of the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda? If not, we have a motion.
I move that we approve and adopt the agenda as submitted.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as submitted. Hearing a discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to our public service announcements. Election 2026 information. Early voting is underway and continues through June 18th. Early voting centers are open daily from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Registered voters may cast their ballot at any Calvert County early voting center. Ward Farm Park Vote Center located at 10455 Ward Road in Dunkirk. The Community Resources Building located at 30 Duke Street in Prince Frederick. Southern Community Center located at 20 Appeal Lane in Lusby. Primary election day is Tuesday, June 23rd. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Residents with questions may contact the Calvert County Board of Elections at 410-535-2214 or email elections@calvertcountymd.gov. Please vote. Juneteenth celebration. There will be a Juneteenth celebration on Saturday, June 20th from 11 to 5 p.m. at Jefferson Patterson Park and Museum in St. Leonard. This free, family-friendly event will feature Freedom Day activities, vendors, food trucks, and a talent show. Independence Day, America's 250th celebration. Celebrate Independence Day and America's 250th birthday at Solomon's Fireworks Celebration. Join the festivities on July 4th from 4 to 10 p.m. for family-friendly entertainment, including live music, bounce houses, face painting, slime kit vendor, sand art, and a fireworks finale. Organizers this year added a second fireworks barge, launching twice as many fireworks for a spectacular display over the Patuxent River. Paid parking will be available at Glasscock Field next to the Marine Museum. Free parking will be available at Solomon's Inn Resort and Marina. Animal shelter capacity. The Linda L. Kelly Animal Shelter is near capacity, particularly for dogs. If you have been considering adoption, now is a great time to visit the shelter and provide a loving home for an animal in need. Now through July 2nd, adoption fees are waived for qualified adopters on all dogs 50 pounds and up as part of Big Dog Summer Adoption Event. Animals of all ages are available for adoption, including dogs, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, roosters, pigs, and more. The shelter is open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. To schedule an intake appointment, call 410-535-7387. Last item for announcements, the Calvert Communications and Media Relations Department has produced a short video showcasing the Calvert County Resident Guide. It's going to be on our screen. Go ahead and start the video, please.
Whether you've called Calvert County home for years or you're purchasing your very first home, there's never been an easier way to discover everything our community has to offer. Introducing the Calvert County Resident Guide, your all-in-one resource for county services, programs, events, and everyday information designed to help you stay connected to the place you call home. Need to contact a county office? The Resident Guide makes it easy with county phone numbers, email addresses, office locations, and website links all in one convenient place. Questions about recycling? Find convenience center locations, recycling guidelines, collection schedules, bulk pickup information, and simple tips explaining what can and can't be recycled. Looking for something fun to do? Explore parks, beaches, trails, playgrounds, sports leagues, and recreation programs for all ages. The Resident Guide also helps you stay informed and involved in your community. Follow county news, public meetings, hearings, and local updates. Find voting locations and election information with ease. Inside, you'll discover resources from veteran and senior services to transportation maps, pet and livestock information, planning and zoning resources, and even electric vehicle charging station locations across the county. The Resident Guide puts it all right at your fingertips. Available online or in print, the Calvert County Resident Guide helps residents stay informed, involved, and connected every day. Whether you're new to the area, raising a family, running a business, or simply looking to stay connected, the Calvert County Resident Guide is designed to help you make the most of life here. Download your copy or request a printed guide today at calvertcountymd.gov/resident guide. Business owners can also request copies for lobbies and waiting areas. Calvert County, vibrant communities, beautiful places, and now a guide to help you feel right at home.
Well, thank you, CMR. That's very nicely done. We appreciate it. And the Resident Guide book, I've got a lot of positive feedback on that as well. So that's it for announcements. Commissioners, it was just brought to my attention we need to go back to the agenda, and there's two items on consent that need to be deferred. They're items 9 and 10. They're just being pushed back to a later date. So if somebody wants to go ahead and make that amendment.
So I'll make an amendment to the agenda that we remove item number 9 and 10 from the consent agenda items today.
Second.
So we have the amendment in the second. Is there any discussion on those two items?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, that takes us to a ceremony. Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Cox. Morning.
Morning.
Thank you to recognize our deputies that just graduated the Correctional Academy. They serve a unique job. They do a lot of different things that we don't do as normal deputies on patrol, but they have an important job that serve the citizens every day. As Commissioner Hart probably can contest that his daughter works down there, some of the stuff that they have to do and to put in unique spots. But We do a great job. They do a great job, but thank you for recognizing these new deputies. Graduating from the Corrections Academy, Caitlin Tack. She's not in attendance with us. She's on vacation, but I wanted to recognize her. She got the Steve Allen Leadership Award in our academy, which is a very prestigious award when you go through that academy as well, so we're proud of her. Robert Bingham, please come forward. Deputy Dominic Jones, please come forward. Ava Verlina, please come forward. Ariana Dean and Deputy Bryce Curtis, please come forward.
Congratulations.
And like I tell you, commissioners, a lot of these, all these graduates here graduated from our high schools in Calvert County. My job is to, and I like to recruit within our high schools and bring these young individuals up through the ranks at 18 years old and become deputies and serve our county for 20 plus years. I want to say we have 3 Patuxent High School graduates that graduated the academy in this class. So it's very cool to see that. And they're doing a great job in serving the citizens of Calvert County. Thanks for allowing us to do this morning.
They've definitely come to the best sheriff's office there is.
Thank you.
And they could be retired at what, 43?
Who's that? Yeah, so they can retire at 43 years old. That's my my pitch on recruiting at all of our high school kids, so they can start with me at 18 years old, and they retire at the early 40s, which is huge. And I tell them to save their money while they're living with their parents in the early 20s. They can hopefully save money on a down payment on a home, and that's a huge head start. And a lot of that's not really taught to them, I think, in high school, but it's a huge head start when you can have your house almost paid for and you're not even 25 yet. But they do a great job of recruiting young, and it's a testament to the people that live here and the parents that bring these kids up. That's a huge. And we have some among us that have their moms and dads work for us here at the sheriff's office too. So it's a one big family there, and they do a great job. I can't speak enough upon them, and thank you to the commissioners for the job that you guys do, and you know what we do there and what we need so to keep us safe. Thank you.
We'll get their staff and family to come up for you.
Yeah, everybody's welcome to come up, staff and family.
We'll stand here, Ron. Squeeze in a little bit here. This will spread out. Y'all come up here too.
Watch your step.
Dave, come up.
All those big guys back here.
Smile.
Might have to use your hands to blink or do whatever you do. Yep. 3, 2, 1. Congratulations.
Take care, man. Good seeing you. I gotta iron this thing. Congratulations.
How you doing? How you doing? Tell Robert, stop talking. He's gonna come up to the mic.
Good seeing you as always.
Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, so that takes us to public hearing, but we have to wait until 10:30 for the public hearing, so we're actually going to skip over the public hearing, come back to it, and we're going to start with proclamations. The first proclamation is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Commissioner Grasso.
Okay. I want to say a few words, Ed.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Grasso, and thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. Ed Sullivan, Division Chief, Calvert County Office on Aging, Community Resources Department. First of all, we have some folks here who I'd like to ask them to introduce themselves and maybe say where they are employed, because they're all involved in the important work of elder abuse. And then if you don't mind, I'd like to thank you for what you've done, because the citizens need to know that our county government has committed funds to prevent elder abuse. And I will make a few comments after that, Commissioner Grasso, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Come on up.
Good morning. I'm Amy Boucher. I work at the Office on Aging.
Amy, come on up.
Good morning. I'm Larry Harvey. I'm Ombudsman. I work with the Office on Aging here in Prince Frederick.
Good morning. My name is Maura Volkowski. I am the Adult Services Supervisor at the Calvert County Department of Social Services, and we investigate abuse and neglect of our vulnerable adults in Calvert County.
Good morning. My name is Dekeitha Gaskin, and I work for Calvert County Department of Social Services and Family Investments.
Commissioners, unfortunately, as you know, there is elder abuse in the state, nationwide, and certainly in Calvert County. But I'll just give you just a few numbers just to put this in perspective. Statewide in the state of Maryland, in fiscal year 2025, there were 3,978 complaints in our long-term care facilities. Obviously, that's a number of complaints that we don't like to see. In Calvert County alone, of those 3,978 complaints, there were 69 complaints in Calvert County. A very low number when you consider the number statewide. So that says, one, we have fantastic employees in Calvert County who are providing quality care in our long-term care facilities. But there were still 69 complaints. And as we know, that's 69 we'd rather not have. But 90%, over 90% of those cases were closed during FY25 to the satisfaction of the families and the residents of our long-term care facilities. I do want you to know that. That's a credit to our taxpayers and to our commissioners. And I'll say that because you all are funding two of our staff members standing in front of you who have investigated these complaints, Amy and Larry, and we're thankful for our partners, the Department of Social Services as well. But the taxpayers should know that we are funding the efforts to prevent elder abuse in the county. So we want to thank you, commissioners, for your support of preventing elder abuse in the county. You know, if men were angels, government would not be necessary. But sometimes, as James Madison said, government is necessary. And I want to commend the folks standing in front of you for their hard work and dedication to prevent elder abuse in Calvert County. And Commissioners, you have something on your consent agenda today, number 13, the SOAR program, Supporting Older Adults with Resources. That program, if passed, our grant application under the consent agenda, that will also commit Calvert County residents to fight elder abuse. So we want to thank you've been supporting us for years. Thank you for your support of preventing elder abuse in Calvert County. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. You want to come on
Thank
up?
you.
Come on up, please. Well, as you know, elder abuse is real. Always have a little story. Our daughter, when she was getting her BSN from Catholic University, and I won't tell you where she went, but she did rotations, and she came home one day and she sat on the couch and she said, "Mom, I'm going to sell insurance." I said, "Why?" She said, "You cannot believe the neglect that I see from families of their loved ones. They don't see them, don't visit them. We're making choices for them because they have no one from their family who comes and advises them. And it really hit her hard, it did. And she did go on to work at one of the veterans' homes and was quite successful there. So she saw it, almost made her make a career change. Wasn't something we were used to in our family because my husband and I both come from immigrant families, and we take care of our own. And that is not easy. That is not easy. But that's what we have always done as a family. And I always say to older people, and it doesn't happen for everyone, you need a village, you need a purpose in life, but not everybody has that. Not everybody has the personality that they're going to go out there and make friends and make connections. So we have to protect our older society from the dangers that are out there, and they truly are. So thank you all for all that you do. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County desires to recognize citizens dedicated to protecting and improving the quality of life in Calvert County, and whereas the global theme for World Elder Abuse Awareness Day 2026 is Beyond Awareness, Making Elder Abuse Prevention Work. This year's campaign focuses on moving beyond simply recognizing the issue to building stronger protective systems. This includes strengthening community-based support, protecting the rights of older adults, and responding effectively when abuse occurs. And whereas the Calvert County Office on Aging and the Calvert County Department of Social Services Adult Protective Services Program continue to play an integral role in advancing the welfare of older adults receiving services, striving to build and maintain strong partnerships. And whereas it is our hope to minimize elder abuse in Calvert County through education, awareness, community support, and collaboration among individuals, community groups, law enforcement, and governmental agencies. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners that June 15, 2026 is recognized as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Calvert County. Be it further proclaimed that we urge all citizens to support efforts to end elder abuse and commend the Calvert County Office on Aging, the Calvert County Department of Social Services Adult Protective Services Program, and their partners for their collaborative efforts to enhance the lives of older adults in Calvert County, Maryland. And this is given under our hands and sealed this 16th day of June, 2026, signed by all 5 of your county commissioners.
So the next proclamation is for LGBTQ plus Pride Month, Paul Quaid. And I'll be taking care of this.
Am I okay to use this mic? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for having us. My name is Paul Quaid. I'm the president of PFLAG Southern Maryland. Some background. So PFLAG Southern Maryland actually has its roots here in Calvert County. About almost 10 years ago, 50 young people said, we want to have a Pride event, and they did so on the boardwalk with support from a local church. And since then, Pride has actually expanded to almost 1,500 people. So that's absolutely amazing. But out of that, a group of adults said, we want to do something to support our youth. So they founded PFLAG Southern Maryland, which is a chapter of a national organization. We support, educate, and advocate on behalf of our community. I brought some literature here for the commissioners, which I'll hand off. A couple publications just to learn more about our community, about faith, how to be an ally, and how to support youth especially. So I want to make sure I say thank you to all the groups in the county that support us. We have events at the library. We have our holiday party at the Southern Community Center. We do a lot. We had a social hour at the Beanery last week at their new location. So we're all trying to support each other in the community, and we certainly appreciate your support of us. So we invite you to come to any of our events. We have a picnic on Sunday. It's in Charles County, but again, we're a tri-county organization. We also have an event next week at Twin Beaches Library. If you want to come paint with us, we're going to have a paint night. And then actually the library has a really good program this week about LGBTQ history, put on by one of their librarians, Lily Crunkleton, who we very much appreciate. You'll learn a lot. There's actually a lot of queer history here in Calvert County from decades ago that some might not know about. So come out, get educated, get some support, and get to know our families. So we appreciate you, and thank you again to everybody. Happy Pride Month.
Thank you. Come on up.
Thank you.
Does the rest of you want to introduce yourselves and come up?
I'm Elizabeth Stewart. I'm just a parent.
Happy Pride. My name is Sherry Tardio, and I am a member of Free Mom Hugs, which is a national organization with a Southern Maryland chapter. We are a group of parents, friends, allies. You don't even need to be a mom. We show up to events to provide hugs to the community because unfortunately some of the folks in the community have been left by their families who can't accept them. So we're there to provide the hugs that sometimes they can't get from their own families. We also provide education, support, and resources. Anybody can join Free Mom Hugs, so I'd encourage any of you to check it out and come give some hugs with us.
All right, would you like to come up? Next.
I'm Angela Shambuta. I'm just a member of the community and a parent.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kirsty Unila, retired after 27 years of service at Calvert County government, where I was always treated fairly and never asked to hide who I was. I'm grateful to this county for that. I'm grateful to my former colleagues, and I am grateful to you all for recognizing LGBTQ Pride Month. We're everywhere. You know that. We're your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your kids, maybe even well, you know what I'm saying. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for seeing us, for acknowledging us, and for allowing us to flourish. We all flourish when we're seen and when we're loved. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marcia Cosmas Monnet. As some of you I know very well for a long, long time. So I grew up in this county. And so I appreciate you having us here this morning, and I look forward to hearing the proclamation.
Well, thank you. Come on up. And thank you all for coming out this morning for the proclamation. I'm going to go ahead and read it. Whereas June is recognized as Pride Month in the United States and around the world, and whereas the historical riot at Stonewall in New York City on June 28, 1969, is considered a turning point for LGBTQ plus liberation in the United States. And whereas for more than 50 years, June has been celebrated as LGBTQ plus Pride Month nationwide in honor of LGBTQ plus citizens that rose up and fought discriminatory laws at Stonewall. And whereas everyone should be able to live without fear, prejudice, discrimination, violence, and hatred, because on race, ethnicity, religion, class, gender, identity, sexual orientation, age, mental, or physical disability, and to be supported by their peers, educators, and community leaders. And whereas June has become a nationally recognized moment to celebrate and honor the way LGBTQ plus Americans have overcome adversity and enriched our society. And whereas Calvert County strives to be a community where everyone is celebrated for our differences rather than being limited by what might divide us. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of Calvert County Commissioners that the month of June 2026 be known as LGBTQ plus Pride Month in Calvert County. Be it further proclaimed that we commend the many ways in which the history and culture of LGBTQ plus Americans have contributed to the history, culture, and social fabric of the nation and of Calvert County. Given under our hands and sealed this 16th day of June 2026, signed by all five.
Thanks so much.
It's up to you.
So I'm going to go back to the public hearing after this last proclamation. We have one more left, and it's for Juneteenth. And Ms. Deborah Harris, if you would come up, and Commissioner Cox is going to issue the proclamation.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Deborah Harris, the president of NAACP of Calvert County, and we want to thank the Board of Calvert County Commissioners for your ongoing recognition of Juneteenth in our county. Juneteenth is a time of celebration. On June 19th in 1865, those who were enslaved in our country received their freedom. So we celebrate that day. Actually, here in Calvert County, we've been celebrating Juneteenth and community and diversity for this year marks 30 years. As you heard earlier today, that we're going to be in Jefferson Patterson Park on Saturday from 11 to 5. And it's a time of celebrating culture, diversity, and community. So we invite everyone to join us. This year, we're really excited about the events. We're going to have a proclamation again by the commissioners, as well as a talent show. We have car shows. We have lots of community support from all the community agencies. And we're going to end the celebration this year with a concert from a band called Earth, Wind, and Fire Experience. So if you're a fan of Earth, Wind, and Fire, come on out and join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on forward. And you have more joining with you today? Please step up, announce who you are, and come forward, please.
Good morning. My name is Sandy Jones. I'm with the NAACP Calvert Religious Affairs Liaison.
I'm Joyce Freeland, second vice president.
Good morning. I'm Diane Freeland, a member of the NAACP.
Good morning. I'm Chris Banks, member of the Board of Directors.
Good morning. I'm Andrew Steen Robinson. I'm a member and I serve as the Juneteenth volunteer coordinator.
I am Randy Parker Niles, and
I am in charge of, I guess, the vendors. I'm on the planning committee, and I'm also whatever you need when you need me. Always here.
Very good. Thank you. So as I said, you all are having this event this Saturday. Even have a talent show, correct? Yes. Okay. And what an important part of American history we have here. And as I was reading the proclamation myself and getting into the weeds of it, I didn't realize that over 300 African American men from Calvert County served in the United States Colored Troop during the American Civil War. And this service helped preserve the Union in the land, and it laid a groundworks for the local schools and churches here in Calvert County. And as I read some of these names, Gant, Gray, Jones, Bishop, Bowen, Brooks, it just, the history of Calvert County brings it all to close. So very important for us to celebrate this, and I hope it goes well this weekend with your celebration at Patterson Park. So with that, I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners recognizes Juneteenth as a pivotal moment in American history, honoring the end of slavery in the United States and acknowledging the profound significance for all citizens of Calvert County, while also commending organizations that contribute to the betterment of the community and the preservation of our shared heritage. And whereas in 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation legally freed enslaved people in the states not under Union control. It was not until 2 years later, on June 19, 1865, that Union soldiers, including the United States Colored Troops from Calvert County, arrived in Galveston, Texas, and notified the last of the enslaved people that they were free. More than 250,000 enslaved people embraced freedom by executive decree in what became known as Juneteenth, or Freedom Day, which was officially recognized as a federal holiday in 2021. And whereas Calvert County branch of the National Association of Advanced Colored People, NAACP, recognizes the importance of the history significant day, citizens are invited to celebrate at Jefferson Patterson Park and Museum on June 20th, 2026 from 11 to 5, featuring family-friend activities and food. Now, there it be proclaimed by the Calvert County Board of Commissioners that sincere appreciation and gratitude go to the Calvert County branch of the NAACP for its continued dedication to the education, awareness, acknowledgement, and celebration of Juneteenth and its lasting significance in our shared history. Be it further proclaimed that Juneteenth stands as a powerful reminder of the ongoing journey toward freedom, justice, equality in America. A day to reflect on the struggles and the triumphs of those who came before us, and to reaffirm our collective commitment to liberty and human dignity for all. Given under our hands and seal this 16th day of June, signed by all 5 commissioners. Thank you.
Everyone take a step to your left. Yep. Yep. And then squish. As best you can. Three, two, one. One more, Philip. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. How have you been?
She's correct. She's always in that program. I'm going to be there.
I've been here about every year this year.
Yes, I'm being hungry. I know it's good.
People charge what they do, and I go, listen, that's
That's what they told me, so I was working more on it. Thank you so much. How are you, young lady? Good seeing you as always. How's everybody? Good. Yes, ma'am. Take care now.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go back to our public hearing. Department of Community Resources, Community Development Block Grant Public Hearing. Director Moreland. Actually, no Director Moreland, I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners, it's Kiko Nash, Special Projects Manager for the Department of Community Resources.
And Jacqueline Calvert, Deputy Director, Department of Community Resources.
Thank you for being here.
So there is one public hearing scheduled for today. All hearings are duly advertised and the certificate of publication is made part of the record of each hearing. Citizens were invited to provide comment on any and all hearings. After each presentation has concluded, each of the public hearings may have a separate comment period following their brief presentation. Anyone here in person must sign in on the sign-in sheet next to the attorney to speak. So I will get started with the memo, if that's okay. All right, 2, Calvert County Board of County Commissioners. Subject, Community Development Block Grant Public Hearing. Background, in March 2025, the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development announced $2 million in Community Development Block Grant COVID CV12 funding for one-time costs supporting food pantries and homeless shelters. On April 8, 2025, the Board of County Commissioners approved a grant application to fund eligible projects. Under the Community Development Block Grant Citizen Participation Plan, a second public hearing is required to provide an update on funded projects and close out the award. Discussion. On April 23, 2025, the county received notice that the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development awarded $88,568 to support 3 projects. All grant funds have been expended. Project updates are as follows. Project D, Ladies of Charity, Calvert County, received $35,000. They were reimbursed we reimbursed the organization for the purchase of a walk-in refrigerator and freezer for its newly renovated food pantry. Beneficiary goals were met. Project E, Project Echo, received $47,068, where they purchased stackable washers and dryers, security cameras, and approved shelter supplies, including laundry and cleaning products. Cost savings were used for additional approved supplies. Beneficiary goals were met. Project F, the Homeless Day Program and Shelter at 85 Main Street, received $6,500, where we purchased a refrigerator, stove, stackable washers and dryers, a dishwasher for the future shelter location. Equipment is being stored in county facilities until the site opens. Cost savings were used for approved cleaning supplies. No beneficiaries have been served. Fiscal impact, all grant funds have been received and expended. Conclusion, recommendation, staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners accept the public comment and close the public hearing record. The floor has been open for public comment on this hearing. Resolution 689 was adopted and is available here today to maintain the order and decorum of the governmental process. Those attending in person will be invited to speak first. For those joining virtually, if you wish to speak, please press *9 or use the raise your hand function. Virtual participants will be identified by their screen name or last 4 digits of their phone number and unmuted one at a time. Speakers will be asked to state their name and address. Speakers who are providing comment as individuals will be allocated 2 minutes. Speakers who are the designated representative of a group will be allocated 5 minutes.
We have no speakers signed up in person today.
Yeah,
We do actually. We have the Ladies of Charity.
You signed the wrong form? Come on up. Introduce yourselves, please. We'll get you to sign the form there while you're there.
Thank you. Good morning. Hi, I'm Laura Schisler. I'm currently the president of the Ladies of Charity, Calvert County. Yep, I'll do that afterwards. Yep. I just wanted to give a thank you to the grant that we received and give you an update just on how it's had an impact in our community. So just a little background, we started building that rebuilding that food pantry. We were coming up short on that walk-in freezer refrigerator system. And what it does is it allows us to buy in bulk quantity, help with the retail rescue, which we work with nearly all of the local restaurants in a number of them in our area, but also grocery stores and such, and let us buy food in bulk, and really lets us help our clients. And I say that from the impact we've had. In 2025, we distributed 200,000 pounds of food, and it's been on the rise. Just to give you another impact of those refrigerators, the refrigerator and walk-in freezer is in 1 week. This past we averaged 125 clients or families and 6,900 pounds of food. We could not do that without that freezer and walk-in refrigerator. So thank you very much. We appreciate that greatly. And I invite you anytime to come down and see our pantry in operations. We're open Tuesday evenings and Saturday mornings, or if you want to see us unload, it's quite a spectacle. So thank you.
Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Any additional comments, questions?
Do we have anyone on the phone?
Currently, we have nobody with their hands raised at this time online.
Okay. Commissioner questions? Commissioner Hart?
No, just thank you for everything that you're doing. It's not an easy job at all, but no, just thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Grassa?
Thank you.
Well, all three of these are very worthwhile charities, and I've been affiliated with the Ladies of Charity and Project Echo. They do wonderful work within the community. The Homeless Day program, that's not open yet. Do we have an anticipated date?
We do not. We currently have our request for proposal drafted with procurement. We sent it to the state for review. We have been in the design process for quite a while. We have submitted our commercial building permit request to inspections and permits. Thank you, Jackie. And so as soon as we get our permitted drawings back, we will go ahead and get that solicitation out. So as soon as we have our vendor awarded and we go through that process, we will, in accordance with our citizen participation plan, come back before you guys and hold a second public hearing. Where we will notify you guys of a completion date for that specific project. But we're close. We've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes.
Waiting for those final plans and then for the state to sign off on the RFP and give us the final Davis-Bacon wage determinations, because this will be a Davis-Bacon wage project. And so once that happens, things will move quite quickly. So we're very excited to get started and get that open. And we're making sure things are going right. CDBG funds are some of the most heavily monitored and have the most rules. So we're making sure that we're abiding by all those processes in the county processes.
Well, thank you both for what you do, and thank you for what you do to help out our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate your support.
Commissioner Cox?
I just want to say thank you for what you do, and I'm sure these funds will be an addition to all three of them, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Say thanks as well. Give guidance.
Mr. President, I have a motion that we move to accept public comment and close the public hearing record.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing record. Is there any discussion on that?
None.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Takes us to consent. There's a lot of items on the consent agenda this week. As you remember, we amended the agenda in the beginning. We moved items 9 through 10, so I'll skip over them when we get to them. Item number 1, Department of Planning and Zoning Fiscal Year 2025 Historic Preservation Tax Credit Program Report. Item number 2, Department of Planning and Zoning Historic Preservation Tax Credit 2025-05 Islington HD 2010-01 Crawl Space and Closing. Item number 3, Department of Planning and Zoning Historic Preservation Tax Credit 2025-06 Islington HD 2010-01 Siding, Trim, Painting. Item number 4, Department of Parks and Recreation Fiscal Year 2027 Program Open Space Program. Item number 5, Department of Parks and Recreation authorization to submit a Land and Water Conservation Grant Application for Battle Creek Cypress Swamp Improvements. Item number 6, Department of Parks and Recreation Amendment and Extension of the Land and Water Conservation Fund Grant. Item number 7, Department of Public Works 176 Main Street Memorandum of Understanding. Item number 8, Department of Public Safety Southern Connector Tower Lease Agreement with Celco Partnership / Verizon. Item number 11, Department of Community Resources Calvert Safe Housing Network, Inc. Memorandum of Agreement. Item number 12, Department of Community Resources Memorandum of Understanding for Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. Item number 13, Department of Community Resources Supporting Older Adults with Resources Grant Application. Item number 14, Office of the County Administrator, approval of the Calvert Marine Museum Board of Governors fiscal year 2027 budget. Item number 15, Calvert County Sheriff's Office State fiscal year 2026 law enforcement. And item number 16, Calvert County Sheriff's Office State fiscal year 2027 Maryland Criminal Intelligence Network Overdose and Drug Awareness Coordinator Grant Program. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve and adopt the consent agenda items.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve and adopt the consent agenda items. Is there any discussion on any of these items?
None.
Have none.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioners. Takes us to new business. A, Department of Finance and Budget authorization to enter into multi-year contract with Davenport and Company LLC for financial advisory services. Good morning.
Good morning. Melena Brookshire, Chief Financial Officer for Calvert County. I'm here to request your authorization to enter into said multi-year contract. I will read the memo. Title 6 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Calvert County authorizes the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners to enter into contracts requiring payment from appropriations of more than one fiscal year when approved by resolution. The Department of Finance and Budget requires municipal advisory and public finance advisory services, including assistance with debt planning, bond issuance, rating agency preparation, refunding analysis, financial modeling, pricing oversight, and related advisory services. Davenport and Company, LLC, is a registered municipal advisor and has previously provided municipal advisory and public finance advisory services to the county. The department submitted a sole source and single source justification form based on Davenport's unique expertise and the county's long-term strategic partnership with the firm. Continuing the relationship promotes continuity of service, supports upcoming debt issuance and capital financing needs, and preserves institutional knowledge and provides price stability under the agreed upon fee schedule. The resolution authorizes the county to enter into a contract for financial advisory services with Davenport and Company, LLC, for an initial one-year term beginning June 1, 2026 and ending May 31st, 2027, with the option to renew for not more than 4 additional one-year terms, subject to the renewal terms permitted by the contract and annual appropriations. This contract remains subject to annual appropriations, and payments under the contract are limited to amounts appropriated or otherwise authorized for services, transaction-related fees, and approved reimbursable expenses. The Department of Finance and Budget recommends that the Board of County Commissioners review and, if appropriate, adopt and enact the resolution authorizing the county to enter into a contract for financial advisory services with Davenport and Company, LLC. Have any questions?
Questions? Commissioner Hart?
No, this is the same firm we've used for how many years now?
Several years now.
I
and
mean,
they were
when I
just-
got here, we were using
Yep.
Davenport,
Yep,
so.
that's right.
So, no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have none. Thank you.
Mr. Grasso?
I have none. Thank you.
I have none either. Do we have a motion?
I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt and enact the resolution authorizing the county to enter into a contract with Davenport and Company, LLC, for financial advisory services.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt and enact a resolution authorizing the county to enter into a contract with Davenport and Company, LLC, for financial advisory services. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Malik.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Takes us to item number 2 on new business, Department of Public Works authorization to execute Maryland Energy Administration Local Government Energy Modernization Grant Agreement. One time.
Good morning, Commissioners,
Morning.
staff, and citizens of Calvert County. My name is Tom Jones. I'm the Deputy Director for TPW of General Services, and I'm here today to read the memo. Subject title is Authorization to Execute the Maryland Energy Administration Local Government Energy Modernization Grant Agreement. That's a mouthful. If you're ready, I'll go ahead and start.
Good.
Background, Maryland Energy Administration, MEA, has awarded Calvert County government a Local Government Energy Modernization, LGEM, Area of Interest 1, which is a block grant for $1,076,242. The grant agreement must be signed and returned to MEA to secure the award and allow the county to proceed with the project specified approval process. Discussion. The Department of Public Works General Services Divisions intends to use the full LGEM allocation to advance a portfolio of projects that reduce energy consumption, lower operating costs, and demonstrate county leadership in adopting clean energy. The department's strategy combines planning renewable energy installations and energy upgrades across priority facilities consistent with the program's mission to support sustainable, long-term clean energy incentives and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Proposed projects descriptions are attached to the agenda item. Staff recommends executing the grant agreement at this time so it can be returned to MEA before the end of the fiscal year. Because the grant funding will allocate across multiple projects, the new budget adjustment numbers cannot be finalized until after the fiscal year 2027 budget rolls on July 1. Staff will return to the board in July for a public hearing to approve the related budget adjustments and projected specified allocations. Physical impact. The grant awards a total of $1,076,242, comprising of $904,735 for renewable energy projects and $171,507 for energy efficiency projects. No budget adjustment action is required at this time. Budget adjustments and projected allocations will be presented to the board through a future public hearing. Conclusion and recommendation. The Department of Public Works General Services Division requests that the County Board Commissioners authorize the County Administrator to sign the Maryland Energy Administration LGEM Area of Interest 1 Grant Agreement on the Board's behalf. Staff further requests direction to return to the Board in July for a public hearing to consider the resolution and budget adjustment necessary to allocate the grant funds to the individual projects. And if I may, I'd like to also present the projects that we have listed through this grant of what will be completed.
Please do.
First thing we have is that we will be doing a feasibility study. The feasibility study is going to be based around a cab here to see what it would take, if it's even, of course, feasible, to put solar panels on here, how it would impact the building, if it even makes sense to do that. So that's the one part that we will be doing. The mechanical system for the circuit courthouse, which is going to take up the entire 171,000, is for an 88-ton cooling tower. That cooling tower over there is aged. We've had some major components on it that have been going bad, so it's almost like perfect timing to do that. On the rest of the grant money, we have the Phillips houses, the lighting improvements. The rest of these are lighting improvements. We're looking at installing solar-powered light poles, so that way we can go away from electrical light poles and so forth. The life expectancy for these poles are anywhere between 14 to 16 years. So I think it's like a pilot program to see if it makes sense for us to go in that direction. I'm hoping it is. I mean, I'm a fan of the polar lights. So there's 6 of them at the Phillips House. We have 5 at the Brooms Island Community Center that we would be replacing, and then there's an additional 51 for the project, and I believe it's through project management, but I believe it's for the I don't want to be speaking out of turn here, but I believe he said it's for the Prince Frederick Boulevard Park over beside the high school. that they would be installing these solar-powered streetlights. So those are the projects that we would, take on to have completed through this grant. I'm here for any other questions.
Mr. Grasso, any questions?
I don't have any questions. Seems like it's a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hart?
None, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for getting this straight for us. Sounds
Yes.
like a win-win for us. Mr. President, I have a motion.
Hold on one second. I do,
Oh, yeah.
just for clarity for the public, talk about Coon Island, just briefly.
So Coney Island is actually, the county owns a facility and a property there, but it's actually leased out, so there's another individual that actually runs the ice cream shop. Those light poles that are down there that will be replaced, they don't actually match the street lights down there. If you've ever seen them, I call them Dennis the Menace lights, because they're the old-fashioned, like, almost like a turquoise green, look like a UFO. So they would be, all of those will be replaced. I think there's close to 16 down there now, but the way that the solar power lights work, it would give you more lighting coverage, so it would be less poles down there. So, and then of course it would be something a little bit more compatible to what's on the street.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
That's all I had, just for clarity.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners authorize the county administrator to sign the Maryland Energy Administration LGEM Area of Interest 1 grant agreement.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to have the county administrator sign the Maryland Energy Administration LGEM Area of Interest 1 grant agreement. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final item of new business is C, Department of Community Resources Budget Adjustment for Child Care Mini Grants. Good morning again.
Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Jacqueline Calvert, Deputy Director of Community Resources. We are here for the budget adjustment for child care mini grants. Background, Calvert County Family Network, CCFN, within the Department of Community Resources, receives annual funding from the Governor's Office for Children to support grant administration and prioritize programs. In fiscal year FY26, grant funding remains from the salary and benefit savings due to vacancies in the Family Network Coordinator and Resource Navigator positions, as well as funding for training, advertising, office supplies, and contracted services. Discussion. To maximize the use of available funds, CCFN plans to invest remaining dollars directly into eligible child care grant activities that enhance child care services and support the ongoing professional development of child care staff. A budget adjustment is needed to shift the remaining funds to contracted services, which will be distributed as mini grants. Without this adjustment, any unexpended grant funds would have to be returned to the state at the end of the grant period. A grant budget modification is also a requirement per the FY 2026 Community Partnership Agreement with the Governor's Office for Children. The county is required to update the authorized official and alternate authorized official to enter into legal agreements or sign related documents, such as budget modifications or reports on behalf of an award. Fiscal impact. The budget adjustment BA 2026-000900 reallocates $118,356.61 from personnel and operating line items to contracted services under the GR-001324 CCFN Admin and GR-001381 CCFN Resource Navigation Cost Centers within the grant fund. Conclusions and recommendations. Staff requests that the Board of County Commissioners to review and, if appropriate, approve budget adjustment BA 2026-000900 to support the distribution of the child care mini grants. Additionally, staff requests that the board authorize the board president to serve as the county's authorized official and the county administrator to serve as the alternate authorized official, granting them authority to sign the budget modification with the Governor's Office for Children. And this has been coordinated through the Department of Finance and Budget and the Office of the County Attorney.
Questions, Commissioner Hart?
No.
Mr. Grasso?
Yes. How did you open this up to daycare providers? Did you open up to in-home care as well as daycares?
So the request for mini grant proposals was sent to daycare providers and as well as the Calvert County Daycare Association. So that was distributed throughout the community. I will say we were blown away by applications. We received over 40, and so we're very, very pleased with the turnaround. Typically, we don't receive this much interest, and that's why we're proceeding with the budget modification, because we are lucky to have the available funds to be able to meet that need in the community.
What is your deadline?
The deadline for the applications? The deadline has passed.
Okay.
That happened last month. And the deadline for them to expend the funds is the end of this fiscal year, so June 30th. Award notifications will be going out contingent upon approval of this budget modification.
And how are all 40 going to get something?
It is based on the application. So I don't want to say all 40 will get something. We have the ability to fund nearly all of them.
Okay.
But it is based on the application if they applied for eligible uses. Some applications may not have allowable costs, but we'll work with the providers to make those determinations and see if we can modify the request to provide the funding if eligible.
Do you see this happening again?
So we have done this in the past. We do see this happening again. We have been kind of notified on the side that the CCF funding, we submitted our application in, I want to say, April or May. The state received $2 million in funding again. Additional, so we'll have to revise our CCIF application, and we have discussed as part of that ability to reapply for additional funding, so that this might be a program, if it's eligible under whatever that NOFA guidelines are, that this was a type of program we would consider.
Okay. As you know, daycare providers are crucial to working families in this county, and they operate on shoestrings. If we are going to continue with this, could you in the future plan a presentation for us with criteria and anything about the program? I just want to know how it's benefiting them, how much, and you have the money here. I just want to know that it's going for the right things and to the right people. And I don't even think that. Strike that. I just would like to see the program, because I have sat down with daycare providers and I have listened to them, and they will be bringing in the fall something before us as a Board of County Commissioners. So I'd like to know how we go hand in hand, and when they come before us, if there's anything we as a county can do to help them as well. So let's work in tandem.
Of course, and as part of this, we do have reporting requirements that we will give to the state, and we can share that as part of that presentation. Again, additional funding is contingent upon approval of the Governor's Office on Children Office for Children as that NOFA comes out. And we certainly can give an update on, the impact of this FY26 program and future programming. And we have been in coordination with the Administrator's Office, Danielle Russell, about, making this a more formal mini grant process within the county as well.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions.
So I have one. So out of the 40 requests that we received, what was the major concern or the major need that the daycares needed?
So from what I've reviewed, I think a lot of them have been requesting updated curriculum, training for their staff, supplies, tables, chairs, bookshelves, enriching sensory activities. I will say this funding cannot pay for capital equipment, and I will say playground equipment is one of those things that the providers, have a need for, that we unfortunately just aren't able to fund due to the restrictions on the state funds. So that is one thing, but I think a lot of it has been training and support and education materials.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve budget adjustment BA 2026-000900 to support the distribution of child care and mini grants. Authorize the Board President to serve as the board's authorized official and the county administrator as an alternate authorized official for the purpose of signing a budget modification with the Governor's Office for Children.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve budget adjustment BA 2026-000900 to support the distribution of child care mini grants. Authorize the board president to serve as the board's authorized official and the county administrator as the alternate authorized official for the purposes of signing the budget modification with the Governor's Office for Children. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
We're excited to send out those notifications.
Wonderful.
It takes us to our work session. Department of Planning and Zoning requested moratorium on data center projects. Director Brinkley.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Jason Brinkley, Director of Planning and Zoning. So at the last meeting, you all voted to place this item on the agenda to discuss data center moratorium. In lieu of reading the memo, I think I want to walk through procedurally what is required to have a moratorium, and then I want to make a recommendation I think may be a path forward on this. So the legal mechanism to have a moratorium is through a local ordinance. Local ordinance has to have a public hearing. That public hearing has to be advertised for at least 2 weeks prior to the date of that hearing. Practically speaking, because of the timeline necessary to get that notice in a newspaper, because it has to run twice, you're looking at roughly 3 weeks is needed in between whenever we actually go forth with a proposed ordinance. So really the next steps, if you want to move forward on something, is to draft that proposed language. That language of that ordinance has to be included or linked in the notice for the public hearing. It has to be for public display within that same timeline. And then if there's any changes, substantial changes to that after the public hearing, it may have to restart that process. So I know we're already working through text amendments. I said, I think at the last meeting, that we should have a draft of that ready for the July 7th meeting to discuss. I know you all are also asking us to look at the feasibility and timeline for various environmental impact studies that we should have. The goal is to have that by also that meeting, by the July 7th meeting. So my recommendation is actually that we do proceed with the path of a public hearing for data center moratorium. We have that discussion on the 7th on actual language that is included in that, so that we have something to send out in a public notice. But we have those other two discussions first, and then we have the following item would be to set the parameters and the term of a potential data center moratorium. So hopefully the previous two discussions can inform the duration and the scope of any moratorium. With the intent after that to actually have a public hearing on a moratorium for the July 28th BOCC meeting.
So, Mr. Brinkley, how many text amendments are staff currently working on?
We're working on various versions of different text amendments, but I think we're at almost 20, last I counted, 20 different individual ones potentially, most of those being various ways to address a potential issue.
Okay. And you say the earliest, so as I just understood you, we will have a work session first so that we can get the draft ordinance drafted, correct?
So that's correct. For a moratorium, we would need to actually have language, and that language would need some type of consent by this board to go forth, because that has to be included in the notice. If you say, hey, go to a hearing right now for the 7th, we don't have language drafted. This board hasn't coalesced around language for that. And to be quite frank, that deadline, because of the holidays, is in about 48 hours or less. So we would have to draft that within that 48-hour period.
So you're saying July 28th is as soon as that we could get this?
My suggestion would be to have the discussion as a whole on the 7th to confirm and finalize draft language for for the ordinance in potentially enacting a moratorium, and that is the same timeline that we're talking text amendments. We can talk environmental impact studies and potential timeline of that, so that would inform the following, whether we're looking at a 6-month moratorium, a 12-month moratorium, or a 24-month moratorium, or whatever that discussion is. That information is very relevant to the discussion on a potential length.
And the time frame is because of the studies, correct?
Yeah, the studies would be, and I know we've talked before about timeline on draft text amendments. I think we were talking September. If there's the studies could be, we're actually reaching out to some of our third-party on-calls right now to determine what the time length to complete those studies are. We hope to have that information by the 7th. And so that information is paramount to the length or potential length of a moratorium.
Okay. So, Mr. President, I'm going to make a motion to direct staff to schedule a special work session on the evening of July 7th to discuss the draft moratorium ordinance and also to draft the text amendments and also to advertise a scheduled public hearing on the evening of July 28th.
So, Mr. President, before we enter a motion, can I address Director Brinkley, please? We haven't had a chance to. I mean, you went into a motion before I can talk to the director.
Bring it up during discussion.
Sure.
So we have a motion. Is there a second for that motion? I'll second the motion. So we can open it up so we have a motion and a second. Let me see if I can get this straight. To direct staff to hold a evening meeting on July 7th that would be a special meeting for a work session to draft an ordinance towards a moratorium and text amendments.
Text amendments, yes.
And then advertise immediately for a public hearing to be held July 28th in the evening. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Attorney?
That's what I heard.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second for that. Is there discussion on that?
Yeah, I'm not voting for it till I can get some questions answered.
Yes, that's fine.
So we have drug Calvert County to meetings, to here, to everywhere, to vote on a simple thing as a 2-year moratorium. This work session, Director, I don't want to see folks drug through this again. If we're to enter into a work session, would it be of your opinion that there's absolutely no way to get correct data? You've stated recently that you don't even know what the timeline from some of these things are, without giving staff the ability to have, and I'm just asking, a moratorium in place to where they're not working on permits, which is ridiculous to do. Not working on land acquisitions, not working on the cost of what treatment facilities would be to upgrade or how to sell properties or any of this other foolishness until actually a firm could be put in place to come in and actually have a true community meeting to where people could ask, put their input in to this place, and then from there go out and work the studies. Would your work session require a moratorium to go forward, or would it just be another, we're going to talk about text amendments that are not going to have the luxury of having scientific data?
So, Commissioner, I'll start by saying staff's not 100% excited about continuing to have discussions on data center conversation either. It puts a lot of strain on staff to continue to have these discussions. The goal of the 7th and what we were directed last meeting to go do was to reach out to, we have third-party on calls for various environmental and engineering functions, to see what the timeline is to complete many of the studies that were that we had talked about at the previous meeting. I know that several of those were in the Environmental Commission's report. And based on that, have some estimates on how long these studies take to do. And those studies could have direct implications on the text amendments as well. So my hope, and it's all up to you to decide, is that we do have a public hearing, an actual public hearing on the 28th, and vote up or down a moratorium, but have the formal process go forward, and we can workshop on the 7th, whether that's a 6-month, 12-month, 24, that's that discussion that needs to happen. But I think what helps that information in large part is how long it takes to do many of these studies provided by a third party that says, hey, we need 6 months, 12 months, 3 months, 24 months to do the studies that you are requesting that we do.
Now, how do you propose we expect staff to get the proper text amendments in place until we get these studies back?
Some of them we can. Some of them are quite frankly pretty cut and dry on it. Others, there are, whether that study comes from a third party or whether it's other analysis that would inform some aspects of those text amendments. But it is very much a process that has to work in unity with one another, and depending on the studies that you all want, and we'll provide more information on that on the 7th, it could impact the text amendments and the language within the text amendments.
Well, take like sound. Do you have a vehicle to correctly address sound without an outside independent agency?
I think we could do some base level sound monitoring now. It might help to have that done by a third party acoustical engineer can do that. Sound gets a little different because there is the question of, is that more something we want to address more broadly than just for data centers? Do we want to make all heavy industrial or all industrial, or what the actual parameters of that is? And that's part of the discussion we want to have on the 7th, is things like sound. Maybe we can have a discussion on the DBA and where that regulatory bar is, but the general mechanism is stuff that we can work on in the background while we figure out what that hard number needs to be.
So District 1, where it's all proposed to go, I can tell you it doesn't want it. Okay, the latest signatures I got just from District 1. It's 2,422 residents just in that little area. So we don't want it. We feel it's being rammed down our throat. For setbacks and all of these other things, how can your group efficiently be able to assess a setback, no damage to the wildlife, any of that, without an independent organization?
Well, when it comes to items like setbacks, a lot of it is, what are you trying to control for? Are you trying to control for noise? Are you trying to control for visual? What is the actual, what are you trying to, we could put 1,200, we could put 400, we could put a mile, but if you're not actually controlling for the underlying issue, what is it really solving? And I think you're exactly right. That's where some sort of study or analysis that says, hey, this is at this volume, or this is what you're trying to regulate for, is paramount to finalizing that text amendment.
Because that's the blueprint that all these other jurisdictions are doing.
Mm-hmm.
They all have a big book of, we need to know more. And they're hiring out these agencies to help them and work with them to determine it, and all that takes time. So I guess you would need to be instructed, your group, during the work session, would this be set up for an immediate pause while this is being determined?
So I think that's the question for the 7th, is you can put a moratorium on a lot of things. You can put a moratorium on applications. We obviously have an application in the door right now for a site plan. You can put the moratorium on planning commission approval or final approval, or on the permitting process. You can put that stop in a lot of spots. This might sound counterintuitive, but I want my staff to review that plan so that they understand what we may need to be putting safeguards on. So I want some level of review happening because I think it also helps inform future text amendments for this project.
Would your meeting allow for a zoning change? Or is that a separate meeting you have to set up for that?
That would be, a zoning change would be part of the text amendment process. If there's anything that needs to be addressed, it can be addressed through that,
So
through the
could
text
no
amendment.
data center verbiage be instituted in that, especially during the moratorium?
It would, well, that is the point of a moratorium, is to put that pause so that you don't have that project going forward. I know there's one county in Maryland that has enacted no data center. I'm not your legal advisor on this, but there is some question on the legality of putting something like that in, on whether you really truly can prohibit a use.
That's why I want the scientific data as well, because even if a judge one day would say, okay, this is a legal use through the state, but we are allowed to be more restrictive. So that way, if an independent firm came in and said, hey, look, you need a mile, 2 miles, there's some points of this county that are not but a couple of miles. You get down to Solomon's, you know, so me personally, you've heard me speak to this several times, I don't believe the locations that are there could pass that test, but I don't have a scientific data to back that up. I would like that from a third party, because you just common sense says 400 feet from a home, a school. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm assuming that the purpose for today is to get to that meeting, but I'm tired of dragging the citizens around. I know your staff is tired of being dragged around. I don't want to go into that just to tell everybody, well, we listened to everything you said for hours, and we're still not going to go get an independent study, and we're still not going to put a moratorium with a pause. I don't see the purpose of doing that.
Director Brinkley, are you confident that you will be able to come back on the 7th with recommendations for studies? Because what I'm getting at is if you come, the studies are what we need in order to move forward. They will help with text amendments as well. They will help staff. They will help our community to understand. The independent studies are imperative to this procedure. So do you think you'll be able to come back the 7th and have engaged?
I can't tell you firmly yes, but I'll be completely honest. That is the plan. We are reaching out to third parties. We've asked them to get back to us within 2 weeks to provide a timeline and their interpretation on a lot of the studies that have been requested specifically by the Environmental Commission. We will get back information that helps in making the next decision. I can tell you that.
Okay. Do you feel confident that you have the proper direction from us as to which studies we want?
I think that's part of the discussion that we need to have on the 7th, and that's part of what informs a potential duration of a moratorium is the actual studies. So that's part of what we plan to discuss on the 7th, and then that helps inform your decision on the language necessary for the duration of a moratorium.
Okay. I also wanted to ask anybody on, well, no, I won't do it that way. Last week, Commissioner Hant said that we have a pause on building permits, and I was able to acquire the minutes, and there was nothing in there that said to me that we as a board had agreed to a pause on building permits. If anybody could get back to me and let me know if that is fact or fiction, I would appreciate it, because I think that's a very hopeful statement to make on the commissioner's part for the people that we have paused building permits, and I don't believe it to be accurate. So I think the public would like to know that. And another thing, and this is not to you, Director Brinkley, this is just a a comment. We have now over 8,000 people who have signed the petition. So it is imperative that, and you know this, you've been living through this hell with the rest of us. It's imperative that we get this right for the people, and it's imperative that our community has a say. Thank you.
Well, Director, do you have a pause in place?
There is
that's
no.
going to answer the question right now.
There is no pause on permitting for. I think what Commissioner Hance was referring to was the earlier vote by you all to make the planned text amendments. Pushing grandfathering out, that they would apply to any project that it hasn't reached that grandfathering status, which is turning dirt in essentially footers or something in the ground. That's what I think he was referring to, but there is no pause on that is effectively a moratorium, and there is no moratorium on this project.
And that's back to my point that jurisdictions have handled it this way. They've put the moratorium in, cut and dry. Then from that point, they've gone out and started soliciting for independent studies to help them build text amendments, decisions, what have you, everything going forward. To have you come back with some text amendments, some this, some that, and still have to go out, it seems to me is a little redundant. Seems to me it'd be smarter to put the moratorium in place, buy everyone time to get public input. You've seen the outpouring of feedback that we've got. Our environmental commission has come in. They support a moratorium. The citizens have supported a moratorium. To get that moratorium in place, go out, get the information we need, and proceed forward.
So the work session on the 7th, Commissioner Hart, I believe is going to be just for that.
So we would be voting to put a moratorium in at that point?
So the work session on the 7th will lay everything out, timelines, everything, and then it'll be drafted, and then the 28th will actually be the public hearing for it at that point. Correct?
Correct.
Brinkley?
That's correct.
So what would the 7th provide the citizens again, please?
The 7th would be us walking through how we have addressed many of the recommendations from the Planning Commission and Environmental Commission regarding text amendments. We'll be discussing environmental impact studies and basically a timeline of what our third-party engineers are saying would be needed to complete those. And then we'd be workshopping actual language, because as I said before, the language of that ordinance has to be publicly noticed in order to have a public hearing. So that's when we would discuss the specifics on what is stopping, what is needed during this pause, and the duration of the moratorium.
So would a moratorium vote be in place that day?
A vote on the language would be in place that day. A moratorium vote cannot happen until the public hearing. That is, unfortunately, Commissioner, our process.
The language is really simple. It really is.
It's
for an independent study to come back with everything. And I know this is not your fault. You are working for the board. I get that. But all the meetings in the world, until we get the information back, I think we're just wasting people's time, because they need that information.
So the direction on the 7th, that we gave you direction 2 weeks ago, last week at a meeting?
Last week.
Was it last week?
I believe.
For the meeting on the 7th, and we were still looking at that timeline, correct?
Correct.
Now, what we have done, though, is set up a special evening meeting for this.
To vote for a moratorium?
No, on the 7th for the work session.
What do we work session? I mean, what are we doing? I mean, we've already had one on text amendments. We've had people out to talk about this, that, and the other. Bottom line, there's no way to do this job correctly without the time to get an independent company. You don't have the resources. The only proper way.
So that's the direction they were given, though, was to come back.
Oh, I'm not faulting them.
No, that's the direction they were given, to come back with that third-party company for the EIS.
So you have.
That was part of it.
We have reached out to a third party to with a scope of work or potential scope of work, and a lot of it's based off of Environmental Commission's recommendations. And
who's this third company?
Not to put him on the spot, but Director Cosgrove has, I believe, that information.
Good morning, Commissioners. Director J.R. Cosgrove of Public Works. So we have 4 engineers that we have on call that we reach out to. 3 of the firms are out of the Baltimore area, and 1 of them's local. So we'll be reaching out to those. They're large firms, or at least the ones in Baltimore are fairly large. They have multiple divisions within their organization that can handle these studies. I spoke to one yesterday about it, and they believe they can handle it. They want to see the scope of work, and it's rather intense. I mean, I think we have close to 10 different tasks within the scope of work that we've developed between what we're hearing from the citizens, what we hear here, and what we've seen from the Environmental Commission.
But they're only going to analyze what we tell them to.
Well, we're basing the analyzation off of what we've heard already from the Environmental Commission as far as sound.
Sure, but shouldn't a firm come in, an outside firm, and study this situation and come back?
What are they studying?
And give us recommendations?
We got to. So earlier in these discussions, when we were kind of figuring out what we might need, my biggest question is, what's the scope of work? I've talked to some of our on calls, and their biggest question is, what do you want me to do? What's the scope of work? So until we, Calvert County government, decide what the scope of work is, how are they going to give us a time frame to do the study?
Correct.
And how are they going to give us a price to do the study?
Correct.
So that's why we, myself and Director Brinkley, has put this scope of work together based on what's been presented from the Environmental
But do
Commission.
you even know what to ask? And that's
Yes,
the piece. And
Commissioner,
that's
we
why-
know what to ask.
You know everything? I
No.
mean, from
No.
all the water to everything. That's why an outside firm, that's what they do to come in. I mean, if you were a mechanic and I said, you know what, I want you to change the oil in the car. And that's what you did. But I had a nail in the tire. Well, you said, well, you didn't ask me to look at the nail in the tire. You know, we need a firm that they've done this. So they have to come out and put boots on the ground. They're going to have to look at the topography here. They're going to have to look at the houses close, the schools close. They're going to have to take the whole picture, come back and analyze it. No different than like when we have the HVAC people come in, right? And you've heard me scream over the years. I go, well, look, a guy comes to my house, he does this. You know what they said? No, you're missing it. Because when I come into a school and I look, that school's different than that one over there, I have to curtail it to that. Well, Calvert County has to be curtailed to. We're not the same as if it was on the Eastern Shore or Western Maryland or anywhere else. That's why I've been screaming for months. I get it. You guys are very intelligent and you're great at what you do, but this isn't what you do. This is unique. So to ask you to do something that you've never done before, see, we can't make a mistake. This is too important. We can't miss. We need the absolute best company that can be acquired that says, hey, look, we've done this in our sleep. We're going to send a team down here. We're going to look at this. That's what didn't happen when Dominion was being built. And I'm not throwing rocks at them, but we relied on what MDE said. We didn't do it ourselves. Now, I wasn't there. I didn't sign that document, but I came on during the build of it, okay? And the issues that we're having today is because the mistakes we made as a county. We did not require that independent study. We didn't require that all these things be met first. It was a done deal. And then we did to the folks what's going on right now. They showed up at meetings. I sat there. I watched it night after night after night. They truly believed their voice was being heard, and it was not. It was done. Before this thing is inked, we owe them. We have an obligation to get the best independent firm possible that works for us. And this is no disrespect to your guys' skill set or anything. To come out and say, hey, you've hired us to analyze this. We've done all of this. Come back, give us a presentation. And then it's when the work starts.
I agree. We do have one shot at this. Go ahead, Commissioner Collins.
So, Commissioner Hart, just to clarify what I'm trying to state here, we could go from today advertising to the public hearing. And what my motion said today was, let's do a work session. Let's get it right. Then let's come back and do the public hearing and give us.
Well, what are we working?
To see what they're going to bring back to us.
But
You don't.
I'm not
Why
a-
are we going to go and get right into a public hearing? Let's do this work session.
I'm not a sound analyst.
Well,
I'm not an environmentalist.
Well, we're going
But
to have the.
In my business, okay, I need cold beer to be successful. But I couldn't tell you how to fix that refrigerator. okay? But I hire professionals that do. Business people, when they approach these things and you're problem solving, and you know this as a business owner as well, if it's something that you don't have a specialty in, it's not your skill set, you hire the people that do. And that's what I'm saying here. Step one, everything in life is steps. Okay, whatever you do, when you were learning to walk, learning to read, everything is steps. Step one is this significant issue needs a skill that I don't have. So what do? I go out and I get a professional. That's what they do. I let them do their job. Then they come back and tell me, okay, this is what I see. This is what we believe you need to do. And then from there, the decisions start to be made. But to have work sessions to say, hey, can you do this piece? Can you do that? To drag folks out night after night, they deserve better than that. It's too much on staff. It's too much on the population. This is something I have never, ever, ever seen. This frustration level, I think, is felt by everybody in this county. Can we please just do it right? Put in a moratorium, hire a firm, and get a professional to tell us what needs to be done. I don't know why this is so difficult. This is not a difficult thing to do. All the other is smoke and mirrors. If you don't have the proper data, you can't make a decision. You just can't. You are an officer, okay? If I said, hey, I'll go solve the crime, I'm not trained in that, but you are. We're not trained in this. We have an obligation to get someone who is. And it's really that simple. We're making it so much harder than it has to be.
No, I believe that's what we're doing. And you know what we haven't seen? We have not seen everything collectively put together in the text amendments that we gave them direction to do. We haven't seen what they came up with for their environmental impact study and that third party that we gave them direction to do. And on the 7th, Commissioner Hart, I believe is the opportunity for us to see that together firsthand and to be able to establish the timelines for moratorium with something to back it up.
So make a motion to go into that meeting for the sole purpose of putting in a 2-year moratorium to hire a firm to do a professional job, come back and tell us what we need. I mean, it's really that simple.
So we don't know the timeline that firm is.
Doesn't matter. If they need 2 years, 3 years, it doesn't matter. The health safety doesn't have a clock. I mean, time is insignificant because there's no financial crunch here. There is no gun to our head on this project. Nothing.
Commissioner,
Nothing.
can I make a statement? This is what it was Commissioner Cox's motion. This is my recommendation. We need a work session on the 7th. And the reason why we need a work session on the 7th is because we need language. You say you want to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to do it right is to have the information provided right before you draft the language that helps support the language in that ordinance that you want to go forth with a public hearing. It gives you a legally defensible way of supporting any moratorium. It's not arbitrary, it's not capricious, it's based off the information literally presented right before it.
But where
So
would
it
you
lays
get
out
that language from, though?
It lays out, we can draft proposed language and then leave blanks for the discussion that night. Commissioner, if you want to do it right,
That is doing it right.
I'm telling you how we're to do it
The right
right.
thing to do is to hire a firm that can do what we can't do.
And that-
all the rest, and I respect you. You know I do. You know I know how intelligent you are. We've had long talks. I respect you. But the way to do this, okay, is to allow time for a professional firm to tell us what we don't know. Why only fix a piece of the car? Fix the whole thing. I don't understand.
Commissioner, I'm telling you the best way to do the process is the process I laid out with a work session on the 7th and a public hearing on the 28th.
So we walk through that and you don't get a moratorium, then what did you do?
If you all vote on the 28th for no moratorium, then we proceed under our current path of proceeding. If you put a moratorium in place, then we take a breath and discuss.
Why wouldn't we vote for a moratorium?
The exact reason I laid out earlier, which is you have to have language that is actually noticed.
So an independent environmental statement is not enough language?
That is not enough language, Commissioner. You have to have actual language. If you want a legally defensible position, you're going to need actual language based on real information presented. If you throw out a 2-year moratorium, we've had this discussion. I know you've had it with staff. 2-year moratoriums are very legally disfavored.
Well, what just happened?
Well, that's fine, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stay in place. You want something that can stay in place, something that's going to actually protect this county. What good would a 2-year moratorium be, Commissioner, if in 2 weeks it's gone?
How's it going to be gone?
They'll
Who's
file
gonna
a lawsuit and do it. So
Bring
we
it.
should have something
Bring
that is
it.
legally defensible.
Bring it.
Legally
I'm not backing
defensible.
down from anybody. Bring
Well,
it.
Commissioner-
Okay? There are 6 jurisdictions in this state that have already put in a moratorium.
Yes, and most of them are between 6 and 12 months.
Okay? And one did a 2-year. State of Maine's trying to ban the thing completely. Okay? So the people in Calvert County don't want it. It's apparent.
And-
Okay? And if you're ever going to sway anybody, you're going to have to prove to them it's their home. It's their homes. We're sitting up here playing God on their homes. We don't have the right to do that. It is not that difficult to say, okay, we're going to put in a 2-year moratorium and hire a firm, and a judge comes back and says, well, you didn't base it on anything. Well, sir, actually we did. We had environmental concerns, okay? We had safety concerns. We had all of these other concerns. He's going to say no?
Well, if you don't have a justification for the 2 years, they absolutely will.
The justification is we don't know what environmental impacts there are.
That's not
why
a-
we hired a firm.
That's likely not a good legal justification. What I am providing you,
What would be then?
What
That
I
we
am
put in
providing
text
you is a
amendment for a
Commissioner
400
Hart.
buffer and trees?
Commissioner Hart, look, I believe we surround ourselves with good people for a reason.
But they're not trained to do this.
Well,
This is not their skill set.
maybe not specifically, this is not their skill set, but they have the resources and they have the knowledge to be able to get those resources.
Why are we so afraid to put a moratorium in? Okay,
I don't think we're afraid to put the moratorium in, Commissioner Hart.
so 6 months is courts have found it defensible. You say not trained. I am trained, and you know my background.
I do. It's very
You-
extensive.
you
How
know-
many data centers have you built?
I'm not talking about the data centers. I'm talking about the process.
Okay.
I'm talking about the process.
So a 6-month is defensible, a year is defensible, but a 2-year is not.
I'm not
Okay.
saying it's not defensible. I'm just saying you better line up all your ducks in a row if you want a 2-year moratorium,
Okay.
and I'm telling you how to line your ducks up.
Commissioner Hart, let's take his advice, I think, and do this on
I'm
the
not doing
7th.
anything that doesn't include a moratorium.
Well, the 7th is your work session to work towards that moratorium.
My moratorium is the 23rd. We're going to know.
That's the 28th would be the public hearing.
Director Brinkley, may I say something? What Commissioner Hart was trying to get at, and I think he did get at it, but a concern of mine is the uniqueness of Calvert County. It's the 200 species on Calvert Cliffs. It's our water. It's heating that up. It's removing forests over the wetlands on Johns Creek, and it will reduce water filtering. So I think I know the direction that I would give is instead of what we did with the LNG, if we do need boots on the ground here to see the uniqueness of our community, and when we hire someone, I would like them to be here to go into the weeds as to what we are about ecologically and so on and so forth in Calvert County. I think that's the smart way we should hire someone, because we are so unique. We're just so special. We clear the forest. What's going to happen to the bald eagle community? So that would be my advice. Let's get someone here, boots on the ground, that will discover our uniqueness and be able to guide us.
Understood.
Another thing I need to know, generators on the roofs, that puts out an awful lot of pollution and noise level, and with AWS saying that they want 8 buildings, how many generators do you think will be on those roofs? Do you know?
I can't answer that question at this time.
Okay.
I know we have a text amendment regarding generators.
Okay.
But I would like to go back and Commissioner Hart, I know you and I have, I think, a good working relationship.
We're great. I'm not mad at you. I
but-
am not mad at you. Does this piss me off beyond belief? Absolutely.
You think I enjoy being up here every day?
Understand.
You think I enjoy being up here
I know
every week?
you don't.
Okay.
I want somebody to make me understand why that moratorium word is the boogeyman.
So I'm trying to lay out a path to give you the opportunity to get what you want as far as a moratorium. I'm laying out a path to have that vote, and that is literally all I'm
Put it on
requesting
that very
today.
first meeting.
I can't, I'm telling you, this is the process to do it, and you still have the ability to, whether
But
it's
if
6
we
months, 2
directed
months,
you- If we directed you to put it on there, you could, right?
for the 7th?
Yeah.
I'm not sure we can get that language drafted in time, and I would not recommend it.
You couldn't by
You'd
the
have-
7th draft a basic moratorium of 2 years for an independent statement.
You gotta get it advertised within the next 48 hours or so in order to meet the requirements. So, here, Commissioner, if I may, we've, you all are just as tired of this topic as I am. Let's just be blunt. Let's lay the
Yep.
cards out on the
Yep.
table.
Yep.
Given this process, a meeting on the 7th and a moratorium on the 28th, I have discussion or vote on the 28th. That extra 3 weeks buys you a lot of legally defensible position. They can't get anything approved in that time. So take a break, take the 3 weeks to actually do it right, as opposed to rushing it and doing it wrong. And that is what my proposal is.
So the extra time buys you, so the environmental impact statement covers a lot of ground. What would you have to add in there that would take the additional 3 weeks that couldn't be done?
The terms of that environmental impact statement, what exactly are we wanting that done on? What are the end goals? What is the objective? Are we tying it also to text amendments? Are we looking at a 6 month? I know you want a 24
But
month.
isn't that what that company's going to tell us? That's the
But you need to know enough of that on the front end. And so I'm just saying that for procedurally speaking, having a public hearing on a moratorium on the 28th, that extra 3 weeks, they're not going to get anything approved in that time. They're not.
And this is not directed to you, Director, at all? Because this process, the way it is going, I can't keep kicking that can. I want to know if the will of this board is to put that moratorium in and go do that. And to me, the next available meeting is to time to prove that and do that.
Commissioner, this is 100% my recommendation.
I respect that.
And I'm trying to find a path forward on a divided board
I know you
to
are.
get to a resolution.
I know you are.
And so that is what I'm hoping to do with this. And while I'll defer to legal, put you in the best legal standing in doing so. And that is simply what I'm saying today.
I can't back down off that. The very next possible meeting to vote for a moratorium is where I'm at.
You could vote on the language at that meeting. You knew I had to go there, Commissioner.
You and I would have been on a good debate team in a different universe, maybe, but that's where I live right now.
Commissioner Hart, you and I both said numerous times, you got one shot at this, we need to do it right,
Mhm.
without a doubt.
I don't want it.
I-
I don't even want this.
One way or another, it needs to be right. Is it a moratorium? Is it a data center comes to fruition? I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller, I don't know. But we need to do it the right way, and I believe that's what Director Brinkler and J.R. Cosgrove have brought to us.
So if the community told you a moratorium, the Environmental Commission told you a moratorium, wouldn't that be enough?
We need to do it the right way. Because from what I'm hearing, if we go down the road and the Environmental Commission or Environmental Impact Study comes back and they said we can do this in 6 months or we can do it in a year and you have a 2-year moratorium, that's not going to hold up. Is that a correct statement?
I think that's a valid point.
Bring the
Valid statement.
lawsuit. Bring it. Bring it.
Why take that chance is my question.
Because it's your home.
You got 3 weeks. What's going to change in that 3 weeks? And that's it.
Everything. Another reason, and another reason, and another reason.
We're locked in. We're locked in. They have to advertise that public.
I did the very first
Commissioner
moratorium.
Ireland, can you please speak into your mic? People can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I was trying to look at Commissioner Hart while
I
I was
did the
talking.
very first moratorium vote probably 6 months, 2 months, 6 weeks, 2 months ago, whatever it was. I can't even remember at this point. And we're no closer today than we were then.
It's
and every
because-
week I keep bringing it up. and the whole purpose of today was to get it on the next meeting so it could be voted to go forward. Now it's, well, we'll have a work session to talk about it, to see. I think I know what they're thinking, okay? Maybe not everybody. I'm not going to be that presumptuous or arrogant, but I can tell you that my day-to-day, where it would go, where I'm at, 6 to 7 days a week, I can't even do work anymore. This is what I do. It's discussion, discussion, discussion. I go in the grocery store, I go to eat, whatever. The folks that's going to be affected the most, that's going to look out their window, all tell me they don't want it.
But I believe this is doing it the right way.
The right way is to say no.
No, the process.
That's the right way. If they don't want it. They don't care about it if they don't want it.
I understand that. And it will give that same public the opportunity the evening of July 7th to come in here.
And tell you what.
Sit down with us, and we'll discuss everything from beginning to end so that there truly is a plan moving forward on whether there's a moratorium,
But what are
whatever.
you going to hear then that you're not already have heard?
Everything collectively. Have you had a meeting where we actually sat down and talked about the environmental impact study and what that timeline is? No. We gave them that direction at our last meeting to put that together. We also gave them direction to, there's so many text amendments and so many different things that are all out there and all over the place, and we gave them direction to categorize those in like 5 or 6 different groups so that it can all come back to us. I mean, the Environmental Commission had some, the Planning Commission had some, and some of them were duplicate. We're still receiving emails from citizens. They bring up legitimate points. Those are added into the mix. And what this would be, Director Brinkley and Director Cosgrove, correct me if I'm wrong, what this is a collective, everything put together. Here's the picture. We're going to paint the entire picture. Here it is. Do you want to go the moratorium route? If you do, this is how we're going to have to draft it, and this will be your timeline on how we believe legally it will hold up to that.
Didn't our own Environmental Commission say they supported a moratorium?
They did.
So through county government, we have put together boards that help us do things that maybe staff can't completely focus on. The board can't. We have Parks and Recs boards. We have all kinds of different boards. So the people that we've appointed to that board have came back and said, to a person, all of them support a moratorium. Discussion should be over. Public comment has told us continue. Discussion should be over. What we're dragging them through, we're going to put task staff to do all this work and to come back for what? When we very simply could vote on a 2-year moratorium that buys all the time in the world. I mean, if the other companies, if we're worried about offending AWS or any of these other companies, I don't get paid to worry about that.
I don't think that's what it's about at all. I think what this is about is the Environmental Commission, yes, they came up with some valid points, and those are included in the text amendments, are they not?
That's correct.
And one was a moratorium, wasn't it?
So there can be a text amendment associated with the moratorium, and they're going to bring that back before us, and that's what we asked them to do. Isn't that what we asked you to do, Director Brinkley?
That's yes, and the discussion on an ordinance is that moratorium. That's what we're discussing. So yes, that is.
On the 7th, then why wouldn't we even before we even got started and wasted anybody's time, start right off with the moratorium?
Because you have to.
Because you say you can't defend it. But 3 weeks from now you could defend it. Well, I'm willing to take the chance, and to crucify me or what have you, my 20%, I'm willing to take the chance that all these other jurisdictions who have done it this way, okay, that we're competent enough to defend ourselves in court. And I've been here a long time. I've been through some court cases, so I'm not just talking we've never been sued before. I've been here we've been sued a lot. When I very first walked in, I wasn't even sworn in yet. I had one in November. I wasn't sworn in yet. I sat out there. They graciously invited me back in exec session, which they did not have to do. Commissioner Clark was sitting there at the time, and they were discussing the pages of lawsuits that we were part of. I'm so naive. I said, "Oh my God, we're getting sued?" He laughed. He goes, "We get sued all the time." That's the nature of what we do, and in today's society, people sue because coffee was hot or what have you. I can't worry about that. I just can't. My first thing I have to do is listen to what they're telling me. And that is, we don't want it. And that moratorium will buy us time to get the scientific data to protect us in that courtroom. And I know you say 3 weeks more will do it. We've had a couple of months. And to go and to tell them, hey guys, trust me, they're like, get no way. I'm not going to trust you. I'm not going to. The only way to start to rebuild trust is to listen to what they say. They want a moratorium. Put it in. And that's day one of starting to rebuild that trust back. That is where it starts. And everything else, to me, it feels like smoke and mirrors. And I just can't walk that road. I'm sorry.
Director Brinkley, when were you given the direction to look at a third party for environmental impact stuff?
I believe it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so Commissioner Hart, that wasn't even done on the last.
No, it should have been done when the lady sat out here from AWS and said that she had this project going on. That's when it should have started.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is we never gave the direction to do that.
Well, then shame on us.
Okay.
Then shame on us.
Okay, so what we've done is we've given them that direction 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so now, guess what? We give you a moratorium, buys you 2 years, doesn't it? I mean, it's not, I'm not putting, this is no direction at you guys. You know how much respect I have for you guys. It has nothing to do with that. This moratorium should have been first. Before we even entertained anything, it should have been first. Okay, you guys are interested in Calvert County. You want to do a project here? Okay, great. Commissioner Cox, you said you can't do a moratorium till you know what they want to do, right? Well, guess what? Now you do. Now you know what they want to do. This is where it starts, okay? When the lady sat here, I said, ma'am, I'm seeing you for the first time in my life. I know nothing about you. But now that I see that you're here, there's something to talk about. That's when it should have started. Just no different than when the people came from the toll bridge. This should have been identical to how the toll bridge came. They came out, they looked at us, they came, they sat and did a presentation. Sorry, we didn't like it. They went away. We're unable to say go away. And we won't get the data. I don't know. We'll get a text amendment. We can do that. But we can't do a moratorium.
So, Director Brinkley, how much was brought to light as far as the text amendments go and what needed to be addressed after you actually received the conceptual from them?
I'm not sure that there's, we didn't know the placement of the buildings. I mean, we saw what they submitted to the state, but those plans often change between what they submit to the state and what they submit locally. So we didn't know where their buildings were located to potentially look at setbacks and things of that nature. I know that there's still a lot of concerns from a review side on it, but I don't know that it informed the text amendments that heavily. I think the feedback from the Planning Commission and feedback from the Environmental Commission and the public feedback that we have gotten on potential language has been a big driver based on y'all's guidance on drafting these amendments. And 2 weeks ago, I did say that we would be coming back on the 7th to talk about that. So that's it. And Commissioner Hart, I completely understand your frustration with the process.
We did it backwards. What should have happened is, once this was on the table, it should have came out into work sessions. What did that guy say who came here from that one county that had it? He said the best thing you can do is get community support.
That's the first thing you do.
I told you guys my experience with LNG. I sat in those rooms, and there's a gentleman sitting right there with that white hat, was at every single one of those meetings. And that decision was done. And the lesson there was, I'm sitting there, I had no idea. When Mike Frederick walked in my store, true story, Mike Frederick walked in my store, I had no idea what he did. I just figured he was a customer. I hadn't seen him in a while. I said, well, hey, what are you doing? He goes, I'm back to an LNG project. Well, what project? I just filed my paperwork. I didn't know any of this stuff going on. And my store is not even a mile from it. So to expect people to know all this stuff, and we don't even know it. So the lesson learned when I was sitting there watching this whole thing is that maybe the companies know, but if the public doesn't know, it's not going to go well. it's going to fail. And I don't know why anybody would want to look at these things. I mean, and if you do, you darn sight don't want to see it out your window. I mean, the whole thing has been backwards. And now we're like trying to fix it. It doesn't need to be fixed. It needs to go away. But if you're not willing to do that, then you have to prove to them it's safe. And you can't do that without an independent study. And I just don't know how you could tell somebody I'm going to put it near your house and not have that. That moratorium buys time. That's why they're all doing it. Not some genius. I called Baltimore City. I said, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Please talk to me. I'm trying to learn. And they said the moratorium is buying us time so we can get these studies. They can have an educated choice.
So on July 7th, it'll educate us on the timeline as to what we could establish a moratorium for.
So you're going to vote for it?
I don't know if I'm or not, Mike, to be quite honest with you.
Then I don't want to waste their time.
So I'm not saying anybody's wasting anybody's time, but what I'm saying, I think July 7th gives the opportunity to educate not only the public, but it's going to educate us on a lot of stuff too, because we haven't heard a lot of this stuff. We haven't heard this stuff in an open meeting at all.
What's there to hear?
So collectively, Director Brinkley, can you tell me what you're going to bring before us on the 7th?
So on the 7th, we're going to discuss the direction we were given 2 weeks ago is to draft options on text amendments evaluating or addressing the recommendations from the Planning Commission and the Environmental Commission. So we'll have options on that. And then we'll also discuss potential timelines for an EIS or environmental state studies that have been requested primarily by the Environmental Commission, and a timeline for those studies with the goal after that of drafting the language for the moratorium. And as I said when I started, I think that was part of the motion was to actually go forth on the 28th notice for that. So I think the biggest question is not if there's a moratorium vote, it's what are the terms of that vote.
So would you say a year moratorium with an option in the thing to take it longer, for as long as it takes, would give your staff the time with an independent place to put this together?
So I'd be curious to see what the third-party engineers come back on their timeline as well. I don't know. I could guess what it is. It could be. I could sit here and tell you it's 2 years, and they come back and say it's 3 months. I don't know.
Sure.
So I want that information. If you're asking for my opinion, I want that information to give to help inform my opinion, because
but the odds of 3 months is.
It may not be 3 months, Commissioner, but I was just using that as an example. But I can't tell you how long.
I couldn't get a parking lot done in 4 years for Smile, so I don't think they can get this done in 3 months. So a year moratorium with an open-ended right there to the board for an extension, no hard deadline, immediate. Okay, you can defend that, correct?
I think if you have an open-ended moratorium, there's some legal questions there as well.
Well, an open-ended to be voted on to the board.
You can. I think this may be a little different answer than what you can, if you put in a moratorium and you found as you were reaching the close to conclusion that you needed more time, you can extend that with proper justification.
Defend that with a judge, right?
As long as you
out
have.
And says, hey, this is kind of unique, guys. I've got Southern Middle School sitting here, and all these buildings on this side and all these on that side. I mean, I guess, are we making a decision to move the school? I mean, is this so important that we move Southern Middle School? I mean, these are the ramifications. Let me tell you what Commissioner Nutter taught me one time. It's simple and basic. Sometimes life's just not that complex. State of Maryland wanted to give us a building. And I said, oh, wow, cool, they're giving us something. He said, no. If they're giving you something, there's a reason. I said, well, what do you mean? He says, because now you got to take care of it. You don't know what shape it's in. You don't know all these things. He goes, sometimes you do something over here and it affects something over there. So by racing through this and doing all this, are you going to move Southern Middle School? Are you going to move Appeal? Are you going to move Patuxent Elementary? I mean, every time we build a school is only, $80 million, right? So no big deal, right? Just start popping them up everywhere. I went to that school. My children went to that school. School's out now. My son goes to Patuxent High. There are schools all over the place. And to put it on both sides of the road without an independent company, that is something that you cannot defend in front of a judge. I want to see somebody defend that.
So,
Moratorium or bust with me, I'm sorry. And we can just wrap this up and stop wasting everybody's time.
I think this was part of it, a moratorium.
It's not.
It-
He just said it's not. It's not for the vote. That motion is not to vote for it on that day.
It's to vote for it on the 28th of July, with a work session on July 7th.
No.
So give us a timeline one more time for advertisement, please, Mr. Brinkley.
So typically to advertise for, or what's required to advertise for an ordinance, which this would end up being, you have to have 14 days in the newspaper, or 14 days notice, ran twice in newspaper general circulation, and in order to get it in the newspaper, that is usually about a week. With a holiday this Friday, that kind of throws off the timeline a bit. So you would likely have to get it in the newspaper by the end of Thursday for this. Now, on the 7th, we would have, that's 3 weeks to the 28th, so that would give us time to get it in on the 28th. And what's required is the actual duration and what the moratorium is being imposed for, plus either included in that notice or linked in that notice the actual language of the proposed ordinance itself.
So this is working towards that moratorium, the 7th and the 28th. So there's a process.
I've said my piece.
Okay.
So you guys can
Mr.
go with
Rosa,
the
do you have
vote.
anything else?
I've said my piece.
Do you have any other questions or discussion?
No, I don't think data centers have a place in Calvert County, and that's my opinion. I so respect Director Brinkley and his staff, but it's this board I have a problem with, and I don't trust the process. So I'm with Commissioner Hart.
Okay. So, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, so it's a tie. So it goes away. That takes us to public comment.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To maintain decorum, the Board of County Commissioners adheres to established procedural rules first adopted in 1989 that are applied in a viewpoint-neutral way only to genuinely disruptive or threatening behavior. As an invited speaker addressing topics pertaining to county government, please observe the following guidelines. All remarks and conduct must be respectful and refrain from personal attacks, inflammatory language, or disruptive behavior. Prior to commencing your remarks, please state your full name for the record. Individual speakers are allocated 2 minutes. Designated representatives speaking on behalf of an organization are allotted 5 minutes. Individuals seeking to influence governmental decisions are categorized as lobbyists and are required to register with the Ethics Commission prior to their engagement with the board. Madam Clerk?
First person up first would be Patrick Flaherty. Please state if you'll be speaking today as an individual or group.
Individually, Patrick Flaherty, Commissioner, Candidate District 1. Buenos dias, ¿cómo están, mi amigos? I really appreciate the dialogue, the passionate dialogue we've seen here today, but let's not forget, it was this board that opened the data centers to this county. Yes. You, well, there's not 5 of you right now, this whole board opened the door. What I want to say personally, though, is I want to thank you each individually. Each of you has always been approachable and pleasant when I've spoken with you one-on-one, and I appreciate that. However, this board, your collective actions over the past 2 years have brought discredit and ill repute to Calvert County. You have tarnished your own integrity and the public's trust in this government. Ironically, I want to excuse me. I want to thank you because the way you have conducted business, the closed-door sessions, The lack of transparency, the quiet zoning changes, and the backroom negotiations has finally awakened the entire county to how this dysfunctional and opaque county government has become under your leadership. It's truly sad that things have reached this point. These are the kinds of things we read about happening in other parts of the country, but never thought they would happen here in Calvert County. The people are watching, and they are tired of it. June 23rd will be a referendum and a mandate against this board. I do have one question. Who was the vice president of the board during the first year of data center discussions and the upzoning of the properties? I guess that'd be 2024. I wonder who the vice president was at the time, at that time.
Was I?
Yes.
I have an answer. Thank you. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Patty Stuckler.
Patty Stuckler, candidate for the commission, speaking as an individual. So we are just 1 week from Election Day. Today's the first time that Commissioner Ireland and Commissioner Cox that you've actually really even been willing to discuss a hearing for a moratorium or any kind of language pertaining. What is the best indicator of future performance? Past performance. And what's your past performance? It was about 2.5 months ago, I think, Commissioner Hart, when you made the first motion for a hearing for a moratorium, of which Hance, Ireland, Cox, the three of you commissioners, all shot that down. No discussion. 4 subsequent times in the last 2 months, same thing has happened, like Groundhog Day. It was Commissioner Hart, and I think once Commissioner Grasso, that made a motion for a hearing for a moratorium. Same 3 commissioners, Hance, Ireland, Cox, again, voted it down. Voters are not stupid, and they don't trust you. You are trying to run out the clock. That's very obvious. So you're going to find out that the public does not want a moratorium, as Commissioner Hart very passionately said. They don't, they don't want data centers, I'm sorry. They want a moratorium, and it won't be in July at a public hearing when their voices are finally heard by you 3 county commissioners, missing Mr. Hance. It's going to be next Tuesday at the voting booth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Pam Warner. Next speaker is Pam Warner. Please state if you'll be speaking as an individual or as a group.
Hi, I'm Pam Warner. I'm from Huntingtown, and I'm representing Indivisible Calvert County. Today we had a good discussion. At least we didn't get any resolution, but got more information about what's necessary in order to justify a moratorium. And I understand the need for additional studies, but here's some studies you already have. The Environmental Commission presented its proposal to the board 2 weeks ago. That proposal discussed a number of recommendations and concerns, in particular heat islands associated with data centers. As the Environmental Commission noted, this heat island extends 6.2 miles, and the magnitude of the impact is dependent upon how close you are. The closer a location, say a school, is to a data center, the higher the surface level temperature impact. Pushback on this article from the data center industry with its obvious financial interests isn't enough. They need peer-reviewed scientific analysis to refute it, as with the board to ignore it. Text amendments to increase the setback from homes to 1,200 feet doesn't mitigate a heat island effect that extends out 6 miles. A setback for schools of 1 mile doesn't mitigate it. Surface temperature increases of 10 to 16 degrees Fahrenheit shouldn't be ignored. The board must decide what risk it wants to accept and whether any zoning ordinance that permits the creation of these data center heat islands that encroach on 5 schools, residences, the bay, and waterways are acceptable. The Environmental Commission also discussed diesel generator emissions. How many diesel generators would be required for 12 data centers in and around Lusby, and what would be the impact on neighboring schools and residences? That's the litigation risk you should be worried about. The board should have directed staff today to cease work on text amendments and to focus only on drafting a moratorium ordinance. Perhaps we could get to it faster than July 7th. That moratorium should last as long as necessary to get the necessary studies that would then justify the text amendments if they would work at all. I can imagine that, given the heat island effect, that you could justify data centers in Lusby at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Jeff Dixon. Hello, Mr. Dixon. Can you please state if you'll be speaking as an individual or as a group today?
I'm speaking as an individual. My name is Jeff Dixon. I'm from Lusby. Good evening, commissioners. Okay, let's go. First, let's never turn Jefferson Patterson Park into a data center complex, ever. Our parks aren't for sale. Okay, let's talk about data center zoning. We currently have a 400-foot setback. From my experience with industrial noise from Dominion, I can still hear the industrial noise, especially at night when my neighborhood traffic has died down. As I've told you in the past, I live about a mile from Dominion. That's about 5,280 feet from Dominion to my doorstep. There's homes closer, so their experience will be different. It's different. Look at the reality in Virginia. The regulators just admitted their facilities run massive banks of diesel generators for days at a time to satisfy the power-hungry demands of AI. Virginia recently mandated noise assessments and stricter emission standards within 500 feet of homes because they recognize the link between these facilities and chronic health issues, respiratory disease, cardiovascular stress, and sleep deprivation. We must be smarter than that. 500 feet is a starting point. It should not be a solution. Furthermore, our current zoning fails to account for the size. Whether it's 4 buildings, 8 buildings, 100 generators, 200 generators, there's a difference. The industrial impact is cumulative. Noise, heat, and emissions do not stop at the property lines. If we are going to allow these data centers into our community, we have a duty to require buffers that match the size of the threat. It's scientifically not logical to regulate a single facility the same way we regulate a massive multi-warehouse campus. I'm urging the board to deny data centers in Calvert County. In the meantime, an alternate demand independent health studies and setbacks far beyond 500 feet.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Dylan Johnson. Hello, Mr. Johnson. Can you please specify, will you be speaking as a group or an individual today?
Yeah, Dylan Johnson, St. Leonard, speaking for the silent majority of Calvert County today.
Thank you.
I'm probably not going to use all 5 minutes. I'm going to switch it up a little bit for you guys today. So I want to start off with a quote by Eric Hoffer. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but he says, "There is a guilty conscience behind every brazen word and act, and behind every manifestation of self-righteousness." So I start with that because what I've seen during the last few months, and to me it's been nothing but a lot of slander, a lot of character attacks, and all that stuff that comes with it being an election year. Even attacking, county employees and stuff like that. I've seen it, I've witnessed it firsthand here. I also just wanted to thank the ones that are trying, and on both ends, you guys. I mean, all of you today showed it. There's passion on both sides of the fence. So I just want to thank y'all for that. At least it does show you guys do truly care, and you're trying to make a difference. All that being said, I want people to understand that when you're going to the booth, you need to look at all the candidates and current commissioners and keep that quote in mind, right? usually the most guilty people are the ones trying to be the most self-righteous right before they get voted on. Okay, so take that for what it is. I'm sure people will spin it either way they want to make it work for them, but really think about that. Find somebody that fits your values and your morals. At the end of the day, you know, that's what we should be voting on. That's what's made Calvert County the greatest community in the state of Maryland. It is just the values that we have down here differ from all of these other jurisdictions and all of that. So moving on with the data centers, the budgets, the NDAs taking the spotlight, we also have to understand there's really smart people right here in this community. And it brings me back to, you know, like I'm kind of a history guy, right? So it brings me back to the founding fathers and the people that built this country, especially because the 250th anniversary is coming up. And we have to keep in mind that not everybody that signed the Declaration of Independence was a college graduate, was, you know, well educated for the time, however you want to, you know, put it in your own words, but they all came together. They all worked together. And I think now we have a deadline of, what, July 7th? I think we all need to come together. You know, put the personal attack stuff aside. Let's work together and really get something that's going to affect the community. People are not going to want data centers. Some people will want them. Who cares? Some people have education. Some people are doctors. Some people work on them. They're not educated in the sense of university, but they are educated in working with their hands and understanding how that data center building works. And I think if we could just bridge that gap and get to a point where the information we're providing you guys and the Environmental Commission and everybody makes sense all around. So no matter if you're on one side or the other, they can't just nitpick it and pull it out and find some study from somewhere else to bash it down. So all of that being said, I just wanted to end on another quote, go figure, from Eric Calvert as well, where he said, "In times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists." And I think that kind of summarizes what we're doing now, right? Technology is starting to take over, and I understand the pushback. I didn't want them when I first heard about them either. But we also have to learn, roll with the flow. You can't just, you know, sit here with one opinion. You got to keep an open mind. So I'll just leave you guys with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Allison Ziegler.
I'm speaking as an individual today. I came here today to listen to the data center update, but earlier today in today's meeting, I watched the beautiful video about the resident guide, and I was actually given my own copy today. I've looked through it, and I hope I haven't overlooked something, but I have a concern about the publication. The resident guide did not talk about our heavy industrial focus in Lusby. I looked under the section in the publication labeled Hazard Profile. Information in this section included storm safety, excessive heat, extreme cold, and flooding. The publication did not mention the nuclear power plant, which is the only nuclear power plant in the state of Maryland. I live in the 10-mile danger zone, as they call it, from the plant, and I still have my iodine pills that were handed out years back in case of a nuclear meltdown. Evacuation plans were not mentioned in the publication. Our LNG plant imports, exports, performs liquefaction, vaporization, and send out. Nothing about the plant is mentioned in the publication about an explosion at the plant or pipeline leaks or explosions. I happen to have the very old and the newer pipeline in my backyard. What about evacuation plans or a number to call if a gas leak is detected? And now, to add to our heavy industrial profile, which is not included in this beautiful publication, 11 data centers are proposed with their unknown pollution, resource use, and depletion. What are you doing? A pause is necessary to research the impact of these centers and realize they do not belong in Calvert County. We do not need more heavy industry in our county. Let's be honest about communicating to our residents and visitors about what is really here in Calvert County. that has been left out of this resident guide.
Next speaker, Carmen Borrello. Next speaker, Carmen Borrello.
Good morning. My name is Carmen Portela.
Can you please see if you're going to be speaking as a guest? I mean, as a group or an individual?
Individual.
Thank you.
I'm a resident of Calvert County. I'm really concerned about this project because the proposal includes 8 data centers spread across 3 campuses connected by private roads and supported by extensive utility, drainage, and security infrastructure. When viewed as a whole, this project functions most like a city, with substantial demands on land, water, energy, transportation, and environmental resources. For that reason, I ask the Commissioner stop and evaluate the cumulative impacts of the entire development. I also ask for complete transparency throughout the review process and meaningful opportunities for public participation before decisions are made. Residents deserve access to the studies, report, and data being used to evaluate this proposal. My understanding is that no data or scientific studies are available at this time. I ask respectfully that the Environmental Commission should be included in all the process during planning because they are scientists and they know what is needed. Scientists doesn't rush. They do trials and trials and trials until they get it right. I know because I have a daughter who is a scientist. In order for her to publish a paper, could be years, not months, because the well-being of families and communities is at stake. Economic development is important, but it cannot come at the expense of the health and well-being of Calvert County residents. It must be balanced with protecting our environment, natural resources, quality of life, property values, and the rural character of Calvert County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, we have nobody else speaking in this room at this time. We do have individuals online. I'll turn it over to Technology Services to do the online portion.
Thank you.
There are 9 people online. If anyone wishes to speak, please use the raise hand function on Teams or press *5 on your telephone. Caller with last 4 digits 7771, we are ready to receive your comments. Please state your name and address and whether you'll be speaking as an individual or as a group. Please press *6 to unmute your mic or press the unmute button on Teams.
Hi there, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, before you start the timer, I'll introduce myself. This is Sherry Burden with the Marley Run Homeowners Association 5-member board of directors. Okay, so we'll start now. Good afternoon, commissioners. I support a moratorium, but not because I oppose technology, not because I oppose economic development. I support a moratorium because I believe the public deserves the complete picture before decisions are made that could affect this county for generations. And I want to explain why using the county's own timeline. In 2017, the Maryland Department of Planning completed a development capacity analysis for Calvert County. That study evaluated future build-out, sewer service status, TDR usage, growth tiers, environmental constraints, and growth around town centers. In 2019, the county adopted its comprehensive plan. In 2020, the county retained NewGen to conduct the Capital Connection study to evaluate future utility infrastructure and how it would be funded. In 2021, the SAGE Economic Development Study and the Economic Development Strategic Planning efforts identified future growth opportunities, workforce needs, housing needs, infrastructure limitations, utility capacity concerns, and economic development priorities following the pandemic. In 2021 and 2022, Planning Commission materials included Future development projects such as Leslie Villas, Magnolia Ridge, Armory Square, Dominion Regional Park, and other projects tied to public water sewer service. In February 2022, the Capital Improvement Program publicly identified major enterprise fund projects, including the Prince Frederick Solomons Pump Station and Forest Main project. In March 2022, staff presented long-range infrastructure planning and stated that a 3-year study of future water and sewer capacity needs had already been completed. In August 22, the county approved forward funding for more than $105 million in projects, including numerous water sewer projects before future bond reimbursement. In November 2022, the county's adequate public facilities report remains focused primarily on schools and roads, even when discussions were occurring regarding broader infrastructure systems to include water, sewer, stormwater, solid waste and recycling, fire and EMS, local law enforcement, and parks and recreation. On December 2022, the residents first became aware that something significant was happening through EDU letters and water sewer billing issues. Then in 2023, residents were told a water sewer workshop Plot Ireland, would help answer questions. Many of us attended that workshop, which is available on the county's YouTube page now and on my social media pages as well. Many of us listened. Many of us left with questions that remained unanswered. The workshop did not create the public record or accountability of a hearing. Keep that in mind from our discussions this afternoon. Meanwhile, the planning, financing, infrastructure projects, and policy decisions continued moving forward. In February 2025, the comprehensive plan was amended again and changed our county's identity. And now in 2026, we're discussing data centers. So my question is, what exactly has not already been studied? Because from where I sit, the county has spent nearly a decade studying development capacity, growth projections, utility demand, infrastructure needs, economic development opportunities, workforce needs, housing needs, capital projects, financing strategies, and future growth scenarios, and our environmental commission was included in none of that until now. The county has had years to study these issues. The public has not. And that's why I'm concerned when I hear that we need another workshop and another pause, because many residents have seen this process before. A study is announced, a workshop is held, the public shows up, questions are raised. Residents spend weeks trying to understand the reports, presentations, studies, and documents, and then the headlines fade, the attendance drops, and the public's attention moves on, but the process continues. And by the time many residents realize where things are headed, recommendations have been developed, plans have advanced, and decisions are already moving forward. So a workshop explains what a government already knows. That is why a workshop is not enough. A hearing creates accountability. If the county has already spent years studying these issues, then residents deserve the opportunity to understand the full picture before a major decision moves forward again, not after. And here's the last budget question. As the board considers the fiscal year 27 budget, I would also ask what utility-specific grant strategy existed while future infrastructure needs, utility capacity concerns, force main planning, treatment plant upgrades, and long-term growth projections were being identified. The public deserves that specific answer. That is why a moratorium is reasonable, necessary, and that is why the public deserves a hearing.
Thank you.
Caller with the last 4 digits, 2953. We are ready to receive your comments. Please state your name and address and whether you'll be speaking as an individual or as a designated representative of a group. Please press *6 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button in Teams.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Kathy Decker, speaking on behalf of Calvert Citizens for Student Safety and Responsible Development. Let's address the administrative pause on data centers. Last week, June 9th, I submitted a formal legal inquiry to the county attorney's office asking for the ordinance number that establishes the so-called unlimited pause that Commissioner Hans talked about in several meetings. I received 0 responses. That didn't surprise me with the lack of transparency going on in county government. May 5th, Hans introduced a motion to direct staff on zoning text amendments. June 2nd, Hans asserted current policy is nobody can get a building permit until the text amendments are complete. There is no time limit. June 9th, Hans asserted we have actually paused. Nobody can get a building permit until we do all the work. There is no timeline. It is unlimited. Let's be clear. If your legal counsel cannot respond and justify your actions, then we do not have a transparent government. We have a closed-door operation that is functioning without the consent of the people. You are governed by extra directives, forcing your staff to act in ultra vires outside their codified authority and exposing our taxpayer to arbitrary and capricious litigation. Now let's move on to the field trip. We have seen the mockery video that Commissioner Hans posted. It was a mockery of the public's intelligence. Commissioner, you want to show us the videos of greenery at the data center in Loudoun County? Stop trying to sell us a landscape postcard when you're steamrolling to build a concrete factory into our yard. We don't want your mitigation. We want the community's integrity back. We are not talking about a nuisance we can compromise on. We're talking about the fundamental character and safety of Calvert County. I, too, have traveled to Northern Virginia and stood at the fence line of these several industrial beasts in the neighborhoods of Sterling and Ashburn, not on a busy highway like you. I have taken the time to engage directly with the residents on these persistent noise pollution of these data centers. I must ask, did you personally visit the neighborhoods to hear their concerns? I expect that you did not, otherwise you would have shared it on your video. They are 24/7 noise drones. They are diesel heat emitters. They are heat islands. The Environmental Commission has already given you the peer-reviewed science on the risk. To ignore that science while presenting us with landscape postcards is not just a policy failure, it is a moral one. The cause you so proudly boast about is nothing more than a bait and switch, and the taxpayers of the county are the ones being sold out. We are looking at a clear precedent set by 5 counties in Maryland that chose to protect their residents through formal, transparent moratoriums. Their leaders chose the rule of law and public interest. You are rushing these massive industrial projects through our community simply because it is easier than doing the hard work of balancing a budget. You are more interested in chasing the data center revenue than finding sustainable, responsible fiscal solutions. We see your priorities and they are misaligned with the needs of the taxpayers. You are prioritizing the path of least resistance over health, safety, and quality of life over your constituents. You refuse to address your own spending and prioritize the problems, choosing instead to sacrifice our community for a quick tax grab. And let us be clear. Commissioners Cox, Ireland, and Hans, this last-minute change to allow for Commissioner Hart's moratorium to be added to the agenda is nothing more than a political stunt. After voting against the moratorium 5 times, we see this for what it is, performance, not a policy. Do you really expect, after all this time, that you had a sudden change of heart for the protection of our community? We are not fools. The legal clock only starts ticking when you stop playing politics and start legal process. Where is the county's legal counsel? All 3 of them, including the new one, Skip. Why are they not speaking up and advising the BOCC on the moratorium in these meetings? We pay a lot of money for their salaries to be hearing cricket. Director Brinkley is an attorney licensed and barred to practice in Texas, not Maryland. His role in Calvert County government is Director of Planning and Zoning, not as an attorney to advise. You continue to stall even today with adding a work session on the moratorium rather than simply directing your county attorneys to draft the necessary legislation. They know exactly what is required for a document to be legally defensible, even without the timeline of these studies. You have enough with environmental committee's research to move forward. It is that simple. Hand the text amendments to the county attorneys and the environmental commission's recommendations and tell them to do their job and draft a moratorium that will hold up in the court of law. Recommend they reach out to the county's attorneys in the 5 other counties who were just successful in passing a moratorium for advice. I am calling on you today to initiate that process. James Madison once said, a popular government without popular information for the means of acquiring it is but a prelude to a farce or a tragedy, or perhaps both. Democracy doesn't die in the dark. It dies when our leaders think they can lie to us in the light of day. Pass a formal, legal, defensible moratorium in the light of day, or admit that you have no intention of protecting us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caller with the last 4 digits, 4875. We are ready to receive your comments. Please state your name and address and whether you'll be speaking as an individual or as a representative of a group. Please press star 6 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button in Teams.
Other caller?
Caller 4875.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, my name is Ben Larson. I'm from Rugby, and I'm speaking as an individual. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Buddy's field trip, which I assume he's still on, which I found ridiculous. Anyway, so I guess I'll go back first. So he mentioned that at the last board meeting, it's been several weeks at least since you guys have spoken to Natalia or AWS on anything about the proposed project. So why take the trip at all? So that's first and foremost. That's the second time that he has been to this data center capital of the world, as we call it, and he has still not spoken to one resident, mind you. That's the second time he's been there, hadn't spoken to anybody. The third point is, so he fails to mention that the Ashburn campus is so big that it's not just data center buildings. There are other buildings there, such as the administrative buildings. And he was actually standing across the street from an administrative building, not the actual data center building. That was on the other side. So I'm going to read a description of the building he was standing across from. A space where employees can work efficiently as well as relax and recharge is essential. To provide that superior customer environment, our Ashburn Data Center campus offers dedicated office space, conference rooms, and large-scale break room facilities with food, games, entertainment, and more. Customizable office and workspaces dedicated to individual customers, secure storage with easy access between data modules, and multiple conference rooms and meeting spaces throughout the campus. So take that information, digest it, and I cannot wait to vote you three out next week. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Caller with the last four digits, 2706. We are ready to receive your comments. Please state your name and address and whether you will be speaking as an individual or as a designated representative of a group. Please press star 6 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button in Teams.
Hey, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Thank you. So good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Joe Young. I'm a resident of Calvert and Owing specifically. So I just want to take it back today to one simple question that I want to ask the board, and that's, why are you moving faster, it seems, than the facts? So the Calvert County Environmental Commission, your own advisory body, recommended independent studies be conducted before any data center approvals move forward. Studies on groundwater impacts to the Aquia and Patuxent aquifers, studies on the bay and impacts to it, studies on cumulative environmental effects in a county where Calvert Cliffs already defines our identity and our risk, as others have pointed out. But yet, this board has declined to support a moratorium while those studies are conducted and completed. That is not responsible governance. That's gambling with irreplaceable resources on behalf of applicants who signed NDAs with at least one member of this board and whose projects have not been subjected to the independent scrutiny your own environmental commission says is warranted. We have seen what happens when counties rush this process. If you look in Frederick County, quantum loophole to charge unauthorized industrial wastewater into Tuscarora Creek. MDE referred the matter to the Attorney General. The anchor tenant left. Ratepayers were left holding the risk. Calvert County sits on a sole source aquifer system. Our shoreline is critical area. Our communities rely on SMECO, a cooperative whose ratepayers will absorb grid upgrade costs no one has fully disclosed. A moratorium is not opposition to development. It's the minimum due diligence that should be owed to the people of this county. So I'm asking you, commissioners, today on the record to support a pause until the Environmental Commission's recommended independent studies are completed. Let the science lead the process, let the process be transparent, and let this board be held accountable. Thank you for your time this afternoon. With that, I yield back.
If anyone else wishes to speak, please raise your hand or press star 5.
Commissioners, at this time, nobody else is raising their hands. We do have 3 individuals in the audience. First one is Steve Wilcox.
Hey, good afternoon. I'll be speaking as an individual. First and foremost, commissioners, thank you for your service. You guys over here, thank you. Appreciate what you do. Government is for the people and by the people, and it is not for to benefit a select few. I came here, so as I live in Dunkirk. I'm an EMS volunteer. My wife and I have employed people from the county as contractors. So we got a little bit of say in here. I came for the moratorium because it's like that just makes sense. But the more I listen to it, no, moratorium. Why bother? The people of the county just don't want a data center. And I can't even spell IT, right? I don't care. Computers, I don't do without them. But my son works on the water. I'm in the water as far as my training down here. Man, I can't even swim in the bay, without getting some ungodly thing happening to me. And you want to put something out here that's going to suck the juice out of it, just take. That's all that thing's going to do is take, And again, for me, it's just simple, man. Just say no. But if that's too simple, then how about a pause? It's like common sense I wish it were that common, But thank you, Mr. Hart, right? It's just a pause, guys. You guys do your thing. Do whatever makes you, I'm not going to say what makes you happy, but just a pause. That's all we're asking for, And it's real simple. Get an independent group to come down. You guys are awesome at what you do. Get some independent people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Ann Sledge.
Hi. My name's Ann Perrin Sledge, and I'm speaking as an individual. I've talked to you guys before. I'm a retired reading specialist, and I mentioned how Texas was paying heavily for the pollution from all the gas and plants along the coast, and it affects pregnant women and the fetuses they're carrying. I didn't mention that in the 90s, it was 1 in 169 kids who had some form of autism. Now it's 1 in 31. Some people, a lot of stuff gets suppressed. We learned from the tobacco industries that corporations will suppress the scientific data. We learned because this county used to be just tobacco. And then we finally, in 1999, they got pulled up on suppressing all the link to cancer and the tobacco growing. We had the tobacco buyout. Similarly, there's a lot of evidence that's being suppressed. And the scientists, 77% of the U.S. population believes scientists. When scientists speak, people listen. There's evidence that these things are not going to bring us benefits. yeah, it's going to be 20 million or there's going to be money, but there's going to be irreparable damage, not only to our teeny, teeny county where the magnitude of the impact is increased. You can't get away from it. We don't have proper evacuation for the industries who are already here. Nowhere is in the world is there an LNG plant in close proximity to so many individuals. They're usually put in places where they can evacuate people, the entirety. We cannot populate. There's no way to evacuate. So don't add another industry on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Kimberly Shiflett.
Thanks.
My name is Kimberly Shiflett. I am a homeowner on Camp Canoy Road.
Are you speaking as a group or an individual?
Well, kind of for individuals who can't speak. I'm speaking on behalf of the animals that are around my home. I'm here today not as an expert, but as a resident whose property and daily life are being directly impacted by the proposed data center development. We chose to live where we do because of the peace, the open space, and the connection to nature. We watch deer move through the woods, listen to birds in the morning, and enjoy wildlife that has long called this area home. Lately, however, it feels like the animals know something is changing. We've noticed wildlife behaving differently as development pressures increase. Animals are being pushed from their habitats, and the natural landscape that supports them is disappearing. They cannot come before you this afternoon to express their concerns, so I feel obligated to do so on their behalf. My concern is not only for the animals, but for the families who live nearby on Camp Canoy. Our forests are cleared and habitats are being fragmented. Those losses cannot be easily reversed. The character of our community changes forever. I understand the need for growth and economic development, but I ask that you carefully consider the long-term impacts on the residents who already live there and on the wildlife that depends on these lands. Please require meaningful environmental protections, preserve as much as their natural habitat as possible, and ensure that all voices of the affected property owners are heard throughout this process. This is not just a project on a map. It is for our home. It is where our children, neighbors, and wildlife live every day. Animals know when something is happening. Many of us who live on Camp Canoy do too. I hope you will listen. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, you do have two individuals online. I will turn it back over to Brody to speak. Who's next?
Caller with the last four digits 2041, we are ready to receive your comments. Please state your name and address and whether you will be speaking as an individual or as the designated representative of a group. Please press *6 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button in Teams.
Caller, last four digits, 2041. You can speak at this time. We can go to the next
Hello,
one.
my name is.
Yep.
This call-in phone system is so antiquated. I can't get over it. Anyway, my name is Sheila Kufal, and I'm calling from Lugsby. Calling to let the commissioners know.
Are you calling as an individual or as a group?
I'm calling as an individual.
Thank you.
Don't deceive yourself with the 20 or 25 constituents in the audience and the 25 or so online. You have the entire county watching you. Watching these needy commissioner meetings on YouTube and whatever. So please don't think it's going away. I'd like to say that Attorney Lucas Director Brinkley and the current attorney present, seems like no one really can give a direct answer on how this pause or moratorium can go forward. They are clearly out of their wheelhouse. Next point, I sat in a Board of Appeals meeting with Commissioner Ireland's father on the board. The developer in Prince Frederick requested a variance concerning wetlands. So that's the goal of these text amendments, that all they have to do is, if there's a variance needed, is to go before the Board of Appeals, where Commissioner Ireland's father sits with Jerry Clark and get the variance approved. There was a letter submitted from the Board of County Commissioners on February 11th concerning the pilot. That letter specifically states cloud computing, which, from what I understand, is different than the hyperscale. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Caller with the last four digits, 1853. We are ready to receive your comments. Please state your name and address and whether you will be speaking as an individual or as a designated representative of a group. Please press star 6 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button in Teams.
Hello, Danny Field, Lusby resident, individual speaking. Part of my comments are tied into the past hearing. The one commissioner who referenced the beach waves, you are such a joker. Perhaps you will be on the beach out of a job soon and be what they call a beach bum. Use commissioners that keep voting down the moratorium. Why are you asking the attorney about doing the studies? It really makes me wonder, like, you guys never even went up to Loudoun County or any of these other areas in Northern Virginia to learn about the issues or problems they have encountered and what they did to mitigate them. Because you're not reassuring anybody in the county that you were or actually are doing your job. Can you get off your butt, get out there and do it, please? You would put your boots on the ground and get answers. That being said, for you three, it might be too late because people are talking and you guys should be getting your walking papers soon. They say birds of a feather flock together, and yet you could not even reach out to any commissioner in any other county or state who has experience dealing with the subject at hand. Charles County shot down data centers. Montgomery County imposed a 24-month moratorium. Are you guys not watching the headlines lately? What are you doing? I really wonder if you actually care about this community that you serve. And the reasons I ask you this is because you can make the data center companies build the infrastructure for the electricity, the water, and cooling. And just like when SMECO came up here, when our local power company that basically told you that our power bills will increase, if not double, because of the maintenance and upkeep to keep the power and cleaning up the gray water to be released at, I guess, the remodeled and newly improved, updated Solomon's wastewater treatment plant. Guess who will have to carry the burden and pay for all the maintenance upkeep? You guessed it, it'll be us, the citizens of Calvert County. Calvert County residents, those who were at the courthouse last week hearing and listening to our commissioner, I wonder when our commissioner said that he visited the data center, I wonder which one they went to, and if they will be able to take a Thank you for my comment.
Thank you.
If anyone else wishes to speak, please raise your hand or press star 5. Caller ending in 6623, we are ready to receive your comments. Please state your name and address and whether you will be speaking as an individual or as a representative of a group. Please press star 6 to unmute your phone or press the unmute button in Teams.
Caller 6623, you can unmute yourself at this time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Gwen Shoemaker, Lusby, individual. I moved here 30 years ago, and you have turned the lower Calvert County, Solomon's Island, Lusby, Maryland, White Sands into nothing but your business area department. We have the nuclear plant, we have the gas plant, we have the county's waste management here, and you've got business park. You put out a survey years ago, multiple taxpayer dollars were spent on the Thomas Johnson Bridge. As of to date, nothing's been done, but millions of dollars have been spent on this initiative. There should be a moratorium put in place for these data centers. There is no room down here for the rest of this stuff. You all changed the zoning, had no public hearings on the changing on the zoning. Shame on you. This is just a total disgrace, and you should be talking to these other counties about putting a moratorium in place, because other counties have succeeded in blocking data centers, and we should be rising above this and doing the same process. Thank you very much.
If anyone else wishes to speak, please raise your hand or press star 5. Ooh.
Commissioners, you have no further callers.
All right, takes us to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Grasso. Commissioner reports, I'm sorry, not Commissioner comments.
Okay, on the 9th of June, I attended a ribbon cutting at Holy Cow in North Beach. Want to highly recommend it. If you're walking the boardwalk, it's just one block off, catty corner to St. Anthony's. Heather owns it. It's women-owned, small business. Please support them. The 14th, I attended the Patuxent River Wade-In. This is something that Senator Bernie Fowler started years ago, and his grandson, it was the same as last year, 48 inches, so the water was pretty clear this year. Last night I attended a meeting at Marley Run Park, and also I'd like to thank Dunkirk Volunteer Fire Department for the service they rendered to one of our children. And the last thing I want to talk about is on the 11th of June at Twin Beaches, I attended a data center forum that was put on by Dr. Jeanette Wysocki. It was a wonderful, wonderful information-filled forum, and she even did a summarization. She has footnotes, so everything she has here is backed up. If you'd, sorry to give you more work, Jeanette, but it really has been invaluable to me. Thank you all.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart?
I just want to say thank you to thousands of you that have signed the petitions in support to try to protect this county. Trying to keep up with the emails. I apologize. I go till I'm like getting blurry, and there's a lot of great information, a lot of messages on Facebook, a lot of things there. And I just want to thank you for all that. The people that have taken the time out of their day to do this, to stop, talk to me, give me their expertise from other things. We're very fortunate. We live in an area with people who have a lot of experience, a lot of different things, and have seen things. I've had folks that I've never hardly talked to come to me, and I just want to say thank you. If I'm slow getting back to the messages, I am desperately trying to keep up. I'm so sorry we're going through this as a county. Should have never happened. Should have never happened. There's no reason for it. When I was raised here, we all talked to each other. We don't do that anymore. And we better get back to that, or we're going to be like these counties that you see or jurisdictions you see on TV that nobody knows each other, nobody knows it. I mean, already you're seeing. I've seen a divide I've never seen ever since I've been a child here, and I blame us completely. You're here because of us, and I'm sorry for that. And one time I had somebody and the family just kept doing something. I said, you're not sorry if you keep doing it. You can say you're sorry if that makes you feel good at the moment, but you're not sorry if you keep doing it. And I'm doing the best I can to try to fix mistakes as I go. It's easy. When you've been here a while, you're going to make votes, you're going to make mistakes. I've been very fortunate. Mistakes that I've made a lot of times, I've had boards that help me fix them, and because you sometimes it's just trial and error. You see stuff for the first time. You think you have the right information. You try to make the best stab at it, but you hope the safety net is that common sense will prevail. I can think of times that we've made votes. We made votes on guns one time. We were way out of our league. I went in the car 2 seconds and the phone blew up, and 2 weeks later we had it fixed. I used to talk to Commissioner Weems a lot, and he used to get beat on because it seemed like so many things he would take and say, let's put a 2 week pause on this, and let's come back. And he knew that people were going to come off the street and give him information, valuable information. He had the luxury of being here 4 years before me, and public input is so crucial. I mean, you just can't cover it all. You just can't see it all. But always in the past, we did everything we could to fix mistakes. I think people are pretty understanding that they know that you're not going to be perfect, that you're going to make a mistake, but they expect you to fix it once you understand it. And I've done some rights, I've done some wrongs, but I have always tried to get it right. I think that's at the end. That's more important than anything else, is to get it right at the end. And so I pledge to you, I am doing everything I can. I don't stop. It consumes me. I'm doing everything I can to stop this mess and try to get some sanity back. And I will be glad when we get back to we're not ripping each other apart anymore, and we focus back on just living a good life and not having these type of distractions that it's obvious that we don't want and we don't need. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too attended the Marley Run meeting last night. It was very well attended, and we got some good information from the citizens up there, so I'm glad that we're moving forward on that. Please keep in your prayers the Hoofnigger family and the Wood family who lost loved ones this week. And we have a lot of events going on this weekend, so please get out. It's also Father's Day weekend. So Father's still living, get out there with him and have some fun with them, and you all have a great day.
Thank you. Prayers go out to Matt Gambrell's family. He met in Calvert Marina, and he died suddenly 2 nights ago, I believe. Matt was he was always very good to a lot of people. Matt was always smiling, just a great guy. Very unfortunate. The 13th, I had Long Beach Civic Association informational meeting. It was well attended, able to answer some citizens' questions. On the 14th, as Commissioner Grasso talked about, Senator Fowler's legacy continued on. His grandson Cody walked down into Patuxent, and I actually talked to Bernie yesterday, and I said, what did it end up being? He said it ended up being 48.5 inches, which was a shame because had the water been calm, I guarantee it could have made 50 inches, but there was a ripple on it, and he couldn't quite get there. I was kind of disappointed in that, but as I talked about that day, this past winter, you could see 10 feet to the bottom of our creeks. I haven't seen water clarity like that in years. I guess you got to attribute it to several things. I've heard the drought, I've heard the cold winter, but anyhow, the water clarity was was pretty significant, and I believe it was a half-inch higher than last year. I think last year was right at 48. On the 15th, yesterday, went with Economic Development to Dr. Sachs's dental office. He's been in business for 35 years. It was a celebration of his business. He's located in Solomon's, over top of CD Cafe. This weekend, the Blue Angels are going to be at Pax River. The 20th and the 21st is the air show. I'm sure they'll have practice Friday. It might be a good way for you to spend your Father's Day on the 21st, sitting back with family, relaxing, watching the Blue Angels. That's all I have. Thank you for being in attendance, and we'll see you on July 7th.
A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.